in Michigan's history in basketball. Them and Duke open as the co-faves for next season. We got Padres baseball later today at 3:40. Paul Skeens on the mound against Nick Pivetta. Padres had a good performance yesterday, riding a 3-game win streak into that one. And we got Lakers basketball tonight, taking on the Thunder again. Should be a fun game. Oklahoma City favored by 16.5. LeBron is questionable. Make sure to tune into that one at 7 o'clock. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
I'm excited about it. It brings a lot of people together.
Makes me laugh.
Can we say they're on a roll?
Down the right field line. Trying to come around for first base is Fermin. Wow. He will.
Padres take game 1 in Pittsburgh, and we'll get you ready for tonight's game. The Natty goes to the Maize and Blue.
Michigan, the 2026 men's basketball national champions.
And Luca and Reeves heading to Europe for some therapy.
I mean, I'm no doctor, but
Plus,
Give me the Hawks at home against the Knicks -1.5.
That's not going to work.
Give us Orlando +1.5.
Okay, sure.
Blue Jays have been sitting on this game. I think they win this one, especially there's a reason the Dodgers throwing Wrobleski out there.
Shohei Ohtani with his 3rd home run of this road trip.
I think Michigan's winning its 2nd national title. I think they actually win this by 10 to 12 points.
Yes!
-6.5 to Michigan. Put a couple units on that.
let's head into the studios of San Diego Sports 760 and get in the zone with Fletch and Sammy.
Yeah, let's get it going on a Tuesday. What's happening, everybody? Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. And then we'll extend it out a little bit, go along with Sammy starting then. Schaefer and Sliwa will close out your afternoon drive, and then Lakers hoops tonight. 16.5 point spread for the Lakers tonight.
No one's playing.
Disrespectful.
They got beat by 45 when they had everyone,
Put
and now
some
the big three aren't
respect on
there.
their names, Sammy. It's the Los Angeles Lakers.
Can
The halls of Magic and Kobe.
I just say something? I was kind of in a bad mood last night because I'm watching the national championship game. Really, I'm like, oh, Michigan second half, they're going to cover. I put a couple units on Michigan, and we can call out players now because they're all getting paid. I don't care. They're making $10 million per. Roddy Gale Jr. decides to miss 2 free throws late in the game. All of a sudden, Alex Caravan decides to turn into prime Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
And you talk about brutal beats off the jump. Needed Michigan to win by 7. They win by 6. I mean, I don't even know what to say to that. I don't even know. I don't know where to begin. I don't even know how that happens. How Michigan is not covering the spread in that game. They were against us.
It's crazy. We haven't even started the show yet, and Sammy's already bringing the mood down. It's
because
turn things around here, Sammy, because the Padres are on a hot streak. The national championship is in the books, and whether you were betting on it or not,
everyone gambled on the national championship.
Look, it was a 4-point game with a couple minutes left, so you can't say it was a blowout, but it never really felt like a close game. We got a lot going on today. We'll ask Sam if he's ready to have a great show and turn this thing around in just a second. But we do have some tickets for you today. We got a pair of tickets for you to head out to the 62nd annual Lakeside Rodeo, bull riding, steer wrestling, and lots more. So get your tickets at lakesiderodeo.com. But we got a pair of tickets that we will be giving away during the show today. So don't go anywhere. Text line is open, 70470. Start your message with teams. We will get to the Padres in just a minute. So if you want to load up the text line on that, we will react to it together. Kevin Acee is going to be joining us coming up at 1:30 to talk some pods. And with all that being said, Sammy, are you ready to turn this thing around and have yourself a great show?
I am ready to turn it around, but I again, crazy bad beat last night.
It was a sad beat. I was explaining to my wife as the game was going on, because she watches 5 or 6 sporting events per year. And it's usually like I get the TV if it's the national championship. Otherwise, I'm watching things on my phone. So I was trying to explain to her, first of all, what Sammy long shots were. Second of all, why we weren't winning money last night.
She doesn't listen every day at 12:45?
No. She's doing anything but. She's probably watching Real Housewives of New Jersey right now.
Does she gamble on that? Because people gamble on The Bachelor and things like that.
Kendall likes to gamble on slot machines. Other than that, it's she stays away from the sports gambling.
Slot machines. That's
and
she throwing away money.
She joins the Masters pool that we do every year as a family, and as basically the entirety of Merced is in on this Masters pool. So she does that because the grand prize is in the thousands of dollars. But I was trying to explain to her how -6.5 works. because she was cheering at the end of the game because Michigan won. And I told her that we had bet on Michigan. And I said, well, yeah, we took Michigan -6.5. And she was like, woohoo, they won by 6. We win money. It was rough trying to explain the fact that we did not win money because it's as if UConn got a 7-point head start. She didn't really understand that.
I was sitting last night, had the house to myself, was having a little cocktail, really celebrating my win before it happened. And then the backdoor cover. I mean, if it's not leading Scott Van Pelt bad beats, I don't know what is. I don't know what a bad beat is if that's not a bad beat.
It was. Now the game itself, I had a good time watching the game. I will give UConn a ton of credit because I think any other team in the field going up against this Michigan team probably does what every other team in the field did against this Michigan team, which is keep it close until halftime. And then eventually you're just going to get overpowered. You're going to get overwhelmed by the amount of talent. You're going to get overwhelmed by the fact that when one 7-footer leaves the court, they got another one to come in right behind him and take up exactly what he was doing. Michigan, this is the best roster, college basketball roster money can buy. Literally over $10 million spent on NIL. I've seen projections out to $14 million for this team. Lendenberg wasn't even healthy for the game last night. I don't know if you saw his halftime interview, but he's like, I feel terrible. I feel terrible right now. My knee is dead. I can't hardly move. He was gutting it out last night, but he didn't play well at all. This was like kind of a beaten down Michigan team that still dominated the majority of that game. I know it was a 4-point game with like 2:15 left in the game. It was a 4-point game.
Right, but it was really off the turnover in the backcourt, and they kind of dealt with the pressure. That was the most lopsided 4-point game I've ever seen in my life. It never once actually felt that close. But where I give UConn a ton of credit, and this is the doing of Dan Hurley, this isn't close to the most talented UConn team that Dan Hurley's had. This is probably a less talented team than the one he had a year ago, which fizzled out in the Elite 8 or the Sweet 16. I don't remember. I think it was around 32.
Maybe, yeah. But this team was probably less talented than last year's team. However, they worked their asses off. Man, when you see a college basketball coach who's cooking a little bit, I was almost more impressed with UConn in the loss yesterday than I was with Michigan in the win, because Michigan probably played a C+ game. And a lot of that was the doing of UConn. They worked their asses off. They are an extremely physical team. I'll give the refs a lot of credit too. I thought they actually let them play quite a bit last night. There was a lot of physical plays. I thought it was a good game, not a great game. And that's kind of where we're at with college basketball right now.
Yeah. I mean, it was at least it was somewhat close. It never felt close though. The final score, I mean, Michigan made 2 threes. If they made 4 more threes.
If Michigan made their threes, this was a 20-point game.
It never really felt close. You got to give Solo Ball and them credit, and Reed Jr. and Mullins kept them in it when they were down 11 with 7 to 8 minutes left in the game. Kind of brought it within striking distance. And it was interesting how, Rafferty was talking about at the end of the game, like the Big Ten schools don't really see a lot of traps. And actually when they went to the trap, they gave Michigan some problems. They had that turnover out of bounds. They didn't even look good breaking the trap, because I'm surprised UConn didn't go to it earlier, because the one thing that the one Michigan flaw.
That's what got them back in the game against Duke was their full court pressure.
And they don't have, Michigan doesn't have a lot of guard depth. So
Cadeau and nobody else.
Right. And I mean, don't get me started on Roddy Gale, but that's the only 2 guards that they have that can bring the ball up. And then when Elliot Cadeau went to the bench, they had to have Lindenborg bring the ball up, which isn't really his game. He wants to catch it on the wing and go to work. So kind of surprised UConn didn't go to that earlier, but hats off to Michigan. They were the best team all year. They put on an excellent performance. And I mean, hey, when you have a 7-2 guy in Mara, the fact that he was even close, the fact that they weren't, Dusty May was not getting Mara the ball early in that game, and his first 2 points, I believe, came 10 minutes in the game, was kind of crazy to me. And then they started getting it inside, and UConn just simply didn't have the bodies to match up. So hats off to Dusty May in Michigan for ending, or at least preventing, a dynasty for Dan Hurley and the UConn Huskies.
So that's the game itself. Coming up in a little bit, we'll talk about college basketball as a whole and why this year and last year kind of feel like you took the madness out of the March Madness. Well, it's a bigger conversation that needs to be had, I think. And as someone who loves college basketball, I would put it right up there with the NFL and golf as my favorite sports to consume. I don't know that I've had that feeling the last couple of years. So we could talk about the bigger conversation surrounding college basketball and where it's at right now. And we will in just a little bit. If you want to get your thoughts in on that, the YouTube chat is open at San Diego Sports 760. Text line always open 70470. In fact, the text line already taking shots at big voice guy CJ for not including the clip from yesterday's show, If You Know, You Know, that I requested be put in the open from our very own Sammy Long, who had
maybe CJ will fix it for hour 2.
Interesting things to say about Brokeback Mountain and the movie release and all that stuff. But maybe
no social problems here.
Maybe we'll get that coming up in hour number 2. All right, San Diego Sports 760. We'll get to the Padres in about 5-6 minutes. Right now, it's time for the Big Three, where Sammy Long rips through the top stories in the world of sports. Sammy, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
Sammy, I would love for you to push forward the apologies from yours truly, Ben Fletcher, to your family and friends who I took all their money in the March Madness bracket. I was admitted into the Long family bracket for this year.
And you're not invited anymore. My dad sent a text this like 2 hours ago. He goes, ugh, we got to pay Ben.
And I'll take it. And you're paying for golf this weekend. So thank you, Long family. I got a couple of tee times and they're already taken care of because I won the bracket.
Yes, Ben, I got to give you credit. I was trashing your bracket early, but
my bracket was terrible early.
But
I just had the Final Four.
You hitting 3 of the 4 Final Four was very impressive, and having St. John's was a decent pick too.
I will take it. Where are we going, Sammy?
All right, so Peter Schrager, brand new mock draft, just released his first mock draft of the year. Schrager only does 2 of these, but he does a mock draft based on what he's hearing. So not just what he'd like to see, or a lot of people just have mock drafts. He's actually doing it because he's tapped in to the NFL. He has the Rams taking Mekhi Lemon in the early teens, keeping him home from USC. Are the Rams kind of forced to take a receiver because of the Puka Nacua news, or do we think that the Rams would be better off to go in a different direction?
Well, it's the Puka Nacua news and the fact that now the Devontae Adams trade seems imminent. So, yeah, I do think they should be taking wide receiver. This makes a lot of sense, and keeping the LA guy home also makes a lot of sense. Mekhi Lemon, I think, is going to be a stud at the NFL level. I really do. I think his game translates perfectly, and I think he'd be great with the Rams. Now, what I would caution you is it is the Los Angeles Rams. They don't exactly use their first-round picks for much other than trade. I think there's a real chance this pick still gets traded, and they go for another Puka Nacua, who they got. Puka was a 5th-round draft pick. I think I have that right.
Something like that.
Yeah,
mid-round pick.
Like Les Snead has shown he is one of the best GMs at drafting later in drafts. I wouldn't be surprised at all still if they move this pick, even though Mekhi Lemon seems like he's been the one kind of added to it.
I do think in the combine and kind of mock draft space so far, Mekhi Lemon's got docked a little bit because Carnell Tate has great measurables from Ohio State. Tyson, the receiver from Arizona State, had kind of a down year because of his quarterback. Sam Levitt got hurt, but he's got great measurables. So at the combine, you see people kind of fall in love with these guys, and they could be great pros. I think they will be very good pros. Mekhi Lemon, though, was just a guy at USC that even though he's a little undersized, people wonder if he's more of a slot receiver at the next level. All he did was make contested catches and play like a beast. I mean,
that's what Sean McVay wants. He essentially wants 3 slot receivers.
I do think that we kind of overthink in the draft process when it comes to receivers, when it comes to pass rush, basically any position, because it's been a while now since we've seen them actually on the field having production. People have watched all the tape. They're meeting these guys at the combine, and they fall in love with the guy who can jump the highest or run the fastest 40. And I think we forget a little bit about it really is about production on the field. And Mekhi Lemon could end up being the best receiver out of all these guys, despite not having the best measurables.
What Sean McVay wants is someone who's an excellent route runner who can kind of play all 3 positions as a wide receiver, either be one of the top end, take the top off the defense type of guys, or be the slot guy. And Mekhi Lemon can do a little bit of everything. And I think he's an excellent route runner. So what do you like when they went after Devontae Adams in trade? It wasn't because Devontae Adams is still the best athlete at the position. He's definitely lost a step. He's still an excellent contested ball catcher. But what does Devontae Adams have that still is elite in the NFL? And that's route running. That's what Cooper Kupp was. That's what Puka Nacua is. That's what Mekhi Lemon could be. It would be very on brand for them to take him, and it makes a little too much sense almost. So we'll see. I did see Peter Schrager had the Niners shifting off of Kenyon Sadiq and going offensive tackle, which I'm very okay with. 49ers, go do that.
Sadiq's a weird prospect because he could go as high as fringe top 10 and could fall to the end of the first round.
Yeah, he is amazing. The Oregon tight end is who we're talking about, and he is incredible, but he's a little undersized to be an NFL tight end.
He's a Kelsey clone. That's why teams are in love with him. He's not a great blocker. He's got wiggle for a tight end, but he's also too big. You can't put him up on a corner. So he's going to be a real good prospect for whoever gets him. All right, Denver Nuggets win their 9th straight last night in overtime over the Portland Trailblazers. They jump past the Lakers in the Western Conference at 3rd. How big of a threat are the Nuggets in the West?
Is there a better value right now than picking the Nuggets to win the whole NBA championship?
I would agree with you. I think the Nuggets' value is through the roof.
Like, they still have all the guys. Like, they're still studs. They just haven't really been healthy this year, so we almost forget about them. But as they're getting healthier, as they're going on a run here at the end of the season, I was looking earlier today and I was like, oh, you could like 10x your money by throwing something down on the Nuggets to win the championship. That just seems wildly worth it to me. So, yeah, I do think they're a problem. Jokic and Murray in any series in the NBA playoffs, they have a chance. They may not be as deep as OKC. They may not have the frontline talent OKC.
But they can take over.
They can absolutely take over.
And they took OKC 7 games last year.
Right.
Now, to the Thunder's credit, they blew them out in that game. So to give Oklahoma City credit, but they haven't had Aaron Gordon all year. Christian Brown's been in and out of the lineup. Jokic has been in and out of the lineup. Cam Johnson. A lot of their talent. The Nuggets' problem is they don't play a lot of defense. When fully healthy, they should be a better defensive team. But yeah, I mean, the Lakers, obviously with Luka and Reeves not there, not a threat anymore. And Wemby got a bruised rib last night. Doesn't sound like it's going to be too big of a factor, but I do think the fact that they've jumped past the Lakers as of right now would be playing San Antonio in the second round instead of Oklahoma City. Denver might have is the biggest wild card in the entire playoff field because, to the point you were just talking about, they've won it before. They have veteran presence. They've been there, and they have 2 elite scorers that can just take over a game with a lot of good role players. It's really going to come down to can they play defense.
And in any playoff game, Jokic could easily go 30, 20, 10. You know what I mean? Like, he's one of those guys who can do stuff like that. All right, we going Padres with the third one?
Yep.
Okay, then we're going to save it for the other side. We're going to talk some Padres. Get those texts in, 70470. Start your message with the word team. Padres are hot, man. They're streaking like Will Ferrell and old school. We'll get into the pods on the other side at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. Sammy will keep it going then what's going long with Sammy? Sorry to get to.
What is it?
Schaefer and Sleewell will take over then for our drive home. SDFC is back home at Snapdragon Stadium this Saturday night. They got Minnesota United. Pre-game coverage with Adrian and Darren will begin at 7 o'clock right here on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. All right, just so everyone's aware of what's going on in my world, and probably half of you will care about this, country music is like seeing a little bit of a power couple going on right now. Morgan Wallen, Ella Langley performing together.
Who is
last
Ella
night?
Langley?
You don't know who Ella Langley is?
No.
Oh my God, Sammy, get ready to fall in love all over again. Text line, back me up.
I like how you hate on Kelsey and Tay, but all of a sudden we're hearing about.
Well, they're not a couple. They performed last night at a secret show in Knoxville, man. And it's the videos are slowly starting to leak out of what was happening last night. Can they please have a baby?
Wait, there's videos that are leaking right now?
Not of them like doing anything, of them singing together on stage at the Pinnacle.
So it's just a collab.
Yeah. It was awesome though. So that's what's occupying pretty much 90% of my brain right now. The other 10% is golf. And right now I'm going to talk some Padres. So none of what's actually going on in my brain. But seriously, I was actually pretty stoked about the Padres yesterday. So this young dude for the Pirates, by the way, Paul Skeens is throwing today. Who was that guy yesterday?
Bubba Chandler. He's a top young prospect.
Does he not have some of the best stuff you've seen out of a young guy in a long time? I know he gave up a bunch of runs yesterday. Well, that slider he throws, it's vicious. That dude can throw gas. Keep an eye on him. He's going to be awesome one day. He needs to figure some stuff out mechanically, I think, and his control was sort of all over the place. And you could tell, like, young pitchers oftentimes will make that mistake when it's they're at a count disadvantage. And veteran hitters like Manny Machado could just take advantage of it. But one day, and probably in the very near future, like this year, next year, he has stuff to be a potential Cy Young contender if he can stay healthy and progress. I thought he was filthy at times yesterday, but he just makes too many mistakes. He's too young. And credit to the Padres for really taking advantage of it. So they went 5-0 yesterday. Herman Marquez, I don't know where that came from, but if you can do that a few more times here while the Padres rotation gets healthy, impressive as hell, and the Padres are streaking, Sammy.
Yeah, and credit David Morgan there in the 8th when they had a little momentum. They had 2 on, no outs, getting the double play and getting out of it. Yeah, the Padres playing some good baseball right now. I mean, you come over the weekend and you saw some positive signs Saturday with Laureano and Tatis coming through on Saturday night, and then Sunday was fantastic. I mean, you're down 4-0. You'd think with Ranger Suarez on the mound. I remember popping in the score early on Easter and was like, oh, this game's probably over. And then Merrill and Machado come back firing, and then you open up with the Padres or the Pirates. And there is something to be said when you're on a road trip, when you're kind of just, you maybe don't have the pressure of playing at home that you're favored to win, playing kind of loose on the road against some of these good starting pitchers. I mean, Chandler, good starting pitcher. Ranger Suarez, good starting pitcher. Now you're seeing one of the best today. So exciting time for the Padres. First time they're seeing Paul Skeens. And you want to really go make a statement that the first week of the season was just coming out a little flat, not having it. I mean, you go shell Skeens, which again is a lot easier said than done. Paul Skeens is, maybe the best pitcher in baseball, unbelievable. But it's the Padres starting to put it together against the upper tier arms, but against the elite. We didn't see it against Skubal. We didn't see it against Framber Valdez. They were okay against Logan Webb for a minute there. I believe they got to Webb 3 runs, something like that. But yeah, this is a real opportunity for the Padres to kind of stake a claim in the division that, hey, the Padres that you've known the last couple of years are here to stay. So kind of a pretty exciting game today on a random Tuesday that we're getting to see Paul Skeens, and then you got Pivetta going. I mean, can Pivetta at least somewhat match what Skeens does? And let's say the Padres get iced out during Skeens. Can Pivetta just hold this long enough to where you can get to the bullpen where you will have an advantage over the Pittsburgh Pirates?
Nice day from Nick Castellanos yesterday. Got a couple hits. It's kind of weird him being in this role. So Nick Castellanos, for his entire career, has been a starter and has been relied upon to provide a ton of offense for whatever team he's been a part of. And that's not really who he is anymore with the Padres. It's weird, but he's going to be like a spot starter platoon type of guy. But credit to him for in the moment where they needed him to really step up. He played really well yesterday. Had a couple hits, looks very comfortable in the batter's box. Maybe Nick Castellanos becomes a little bit more standard in the lineup instead of just righty-lefty matchups. Is able to become a bigger part of this because he's more than capable of hitting 20-plus home runs, and that's almost what the Padres need, is to have one of these role guys be the guy who hits 20.
And you talk about a guy coming off the bench, platoon role, wherever he's hitting, to be able to work counts. You just brought about Bubba Chandler. I mean, you're talking about getting to a rookie pitcher. It's tough when you're coming off the bench. And the last couple of years, the Padres haven't had veteran guys like Bryce Johnson and guys you're relying on who haven't seen a lot of pitches at the plate. You bring out Nick Castellanos, who, even though is he what he once was with Philadelphia? Absolutely not. But he still can be a very viable piece. And you're coming off the bench in a pressure spot, a guy who's not scared of the moment. So yeah, it's exciting the way the Padres are playing the last few days, and hopefully can get a series win here today against the Pirates.
Back to 500. That's what you're asking for, right? You're just asking to hang in the race. Now, Sammy's pick of the Dodgers to lose yesterday was woefully wrong.
Yeah.
How many runs did the Dodgers freaking score yesterday?
14. We learned a valuable lesson.
14?
We learned a communal lesson on long shots. You don't bet against the Los Angeles Dodgers.
I'm saying we're blacklisting the Dodgers. They're no longer on long shots. For the rest of the season.
The Dodgers, unless you're betting them to win.
I don't even know about that. I think that
a parlay booster.
That would feel kind of gross. So this is just, it's done.
They have backup catchers Dalton Rushing going 4 for 4 yesterday.
14 runs on a random Monday.
Andy Paez might have ended the Toronto Blue Jays franchise just as an entity.
In the World Series last year.
Yes, after the catch. And now him hitting like 500 so far the first couple weeks of the season. I mean, a Dodgers lineup is something else.
Now, I am really curious what the plans are for Germán Marquez moving forward. I thought there were some really nice signs yesterday, and I didn't know this until after the game, but apparently Germán Marquez has cooked the Pirates his entire career. Like, he just has very specific ownage over the Pittsburgh Pirates, which is great. But unfortunately, you just don't play the Pirates every single series. But Germán Marquez, you feel like if he can stack together like 3 or 4 more of these or close to what he did yesterday, because the ball was lively, man. He looked good. His pitch placement was great. He got bailed out in the second inning by the Pirates just making some kind of boneheaded mistakes. But if Germán Marquez can give you 4 or 5 good enough starts, or even like maybe 3 out of his next 5 are good enough starts, you feel like that gets you to the point where a Canning can come back, where a Musgrove can come back. And maybe that just gives you some more options. Very encouraged by what I saw out of Germán Marquez yesterday. All right. Quick break here. We'll continue Padres. Sorry, Sammy. We got a break. Otherwise, we're going to get yelled at about the clock.
Yeah, they yell at us about missing the clock.
I mean, we're already there, so might as well just leave.
The program directors are running down the office right now.
So, Sammy, hold that thought. We'll get to it on the other side. We also have those Lakeside Rodeo tickets coming up very, very soon, and there's about 10 texts on the text line right now. Cooking Sammy for not knowing who Ella Langley is. We'll get to all of them at San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Reduced Emissions, improved air quality in the Port of San Diego. Padres back today, taking on Paul Skeens for the first time in the Padres career. That game will be at 3:40. Nick Pivetta will also be on the mound for the Padres. The Lakers are back tonight. Coverage begins at 7 o'clock here on San Diego Sports 760, taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. OKC is a 16.5-point favorite at Crypto in Los Angeles. LeBron is questionable to play. Progress update. The Port of San Diego has an ambitious maritime clean air strategy to improve air quality in the region. And with strong partnerships in clean, zero-emission tech and improved maritime operations, the air quality is improving. Get the details at portofsandiego.org.
April 7th, 1993. Does anyone know why that date's significant?
Say it again.
April 7th, 1993. So today, 1993.
No idea.
One of the greatest coming of age stories of all time, The Sandlot, was released in theaters.
Ah, great film.
April 7th, 1993. It does kind of make me think a little bit. Maybe text line, YouTube chat, 70470. Start your message with team. Of course, the free iHeartRadio app. You can use the talkback feature. What's the best coming of age sports movie you've ever seen? Is it Sandlot?
Oh, well, I mean, it's Rocky.
Is that really a coming of age story?
I mean, it is. He's a young, poor fighter on the streets of Philadelphia. Finds his way. No one gave him a shot. Late replacement. I mean, it is a complete coming. It's a complete story arc.
It's great, man. I love Rocky. I don't know if it's my favorite sports movie ever.
You think
Sandlot's up there?
You have the Sandlot over Rocky?
Dude, Sandlot.
That's crazy.
Sandlot gives me some serious nostalgia. I love Sandlot. I love Rocky, but yeah, we'll see.
Well, hold on. Top sports movies.
Miracle's up there for me too.
Yes. That's a valid take.
Slapstick. Hockey movie.
I mean, if we're going that, Semi-Pro would be my favorite.
Semi-Pro is great.
Semi-Pro is great.
How about Glory Road, the basketball movie? Hoosiers. You ever seen Glory Road?
No.
Glory Road's really good. It's about El Paso making a run to the Sweet 16.
Any Given Sunday, all timer. Coach Carter, great movie. I'd probably go Semi-Pro.
Coach Carter. I tied that shoe.
Any Given Sunday though. I mean, steaming Willie Beeman. How can you compete with that? The Replacements, Keanu Reeves, great movie.
Sure.
Any Rocky, Creed. I mean, how can you beat Rocky?
All right, text line is split a little bit. 619 texting in says Ella Langley is a goddess from our buddy Quacked on Padres.
Quacked, letting us know.
858 says Sammy is locked in on more important things like sports and not lame country cornballs. Last I heard, he was the one with the news show and not Fletch.
Oh my! Whoa!
Different 858 says, "What's an Ello? Is he in baseball?" No, Ella Langley. Google her and you will understand. She's one of the fastest rising country stars. In the world.
Fletch did just put me on.
Yeah, she's amazing, dude, and her music is great too. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock.
Real quick, the text coming in left and right. It's text is 70470. Start your message with team 858. Of course. How do we forget? Remember the Titans?
Remember
amazing
the Titans. Also,
movie.
Remember the Titans has an underrated soundtrack, man. I know like the movie itself is amazing, but the soundtrack, a bunch of CCR on it, is awesome. All right, I do want to get to this. So if you're following along with college basketball these days, obviously, you know, Michigan just won the national championship. They spent over $10 million on their roster in NIL money. I've seen the number rumored to be as high as $14 million. We'll probably never get the true number, but I would say it's safe to say it's somewhere between 10 to 13.5. I would say that is a soft estimate. That's very safe to say what Michigan just paid. And that's near the top of the country. It's not the top of the country. But the way that they built this team, most of these guys were not on Michigan a year ago. Most of them came via the transfer portal, via NIL funds to Michigan this year.
Coming back next year. You seen that entire starting five?
Yes. Crazy. It's insane what Michigan's able to do. And that's great for Michigan. But I think the question is now, where do we go from here, college basketball? Because as of right now, Michigan has to be the favorites to win the NCAA tournament next year. So if you didn't see over last night at midnight, the clock ticked over and the transfer portal opened up officially for next season. There are 1,000 names in the transfer portal as of right now, including, by the way, 5 Aztecs. Miles Bird, Magoon Guath, BJ Davis, Farrell Compton, and Miles Heide have all entered into the transfer portal. And at least from Mark Ziegler's reporting, maybe 1 or 2 of them come back, but it looks like Magoon Guath will be leaving San Diego State unless something big happens. Miles Bird seems to have said his goodbye. He did it on an Instagram post. BJ Davis, who knows? I really like BJ. I'd love to have him back with the Aztecs, but we'll see. Pharaoh Compton was the surprising name on this. Miles Heide seems as if he's said goodbye. So we'll see. Things can always change, and guys can make the decision to come back to San Diego State. And Dutch has a quote out there right now saying you have to go and test the transfer portal. You could make life-changing money right now, and a professional career is not always guaranteed. But where does that leave San Diego State in this world of college basketball where clearly Michigan went out and just bought a national championship, which good for them. That's what they can do right now. For San Diego State, you look at what's coming back. Hopefully, LZ Harrington, Tay Simmons, the two freshmen from this year, are on their way back. And I think they're going to be excellent Aztecs. I really do. Latrell Davis was recruited and redshirted to this team after being a star in the Mountain West because Brian Dutcher saw this coming. He saw the future without Miles Bird, and that is a perfect replacement, man, for Miles Bird. Latrell Davis is an excellent
cooked
scorer.
The Aztecs twice the year before.
He could have been the leading scorer on this year's team.
And the transfer portal, because I see a lot on social media of people, and you watch this team every night, you grow attached to the players, and now it's kind of free. It is free enterprise. Basically, everyone's testing the portal every year, and why wouldn't you? I mean, if I was a player, I would be doing the same thing. Why wouldn't you be testing, seeing possible life-changing money, especially in basketball too? Because a very small percentage of college basketball players can go to the NBA and make a living, whereas football, you can be a mid-round draft pick. You could be undersized and not have measurables, but if you just have a lot of production, some team is going to take a flyer on you where you can have all the production in the world, and if you don't have the measurables to cut it in the NBA, you're not going to be a high NBA draft pick. But you see the guys entering the portal. Miles Heide, Pharaoh Compton, and Magoon Guav. That's the entire front court. So what that tells you is just as how we have people leaving and potentially going to the transfer portal, the Aztecs obviously have their sights on someone. And to be fair, not to disparage any of those guys, because Miles Bird is one of my favorite Aztecs I've gotten to watch, and all those guys have had good moments throughout their career at San Diego State. But the front court was a problem, and the first thing Coach Dutcher said after the season was, "We got to get a rebounder." I mean, this is you have to get the Aztecs were not a good rebounding team this past year, and it really hurt them at times because the team was built heavily on guards, heavily on wing players. And then when you went with that, they were undersized, couldn't rebound. When you had to go to Heide and Compton and guys like that, you lack some offensive, but you got a little bit more defense and rebounding on the floor. So people I see are panicking a little bit. I do think the fact that Tay Simmons and LZ Harrington, you throw everything at them, try to keep them, build around them, and see if you can add a big time front court piece and kind of change the way the Aztec team the last couple of years has been built and really go more of an inside out team. Because look at the team that won the national championship last night. It's historically been thought of that teams with great front courts don't win championships, and Michigan just disproved that, and UConn disproved that a couple of years ago. So the game is changing.
Michigan literally has 4 7-footers on their team, and their front court was all talented too. Like Mara didn't have a great game last night. It was still a huge impact in the game. If I'm San Diego State, I'm not necessarily worried about it because of what I said at the beginning of all this. There are 1,000 names in the transfer portal just since last night. Somebody who I believe should be a target, and I have no inside information on this, Tomislav Buljan is in the transfer portal. He was at New Mexico. You remember the guy that had 24 and 18 against the Aztecs?
And you weaken them too if you get him.
Well, this would be an upgrade for him too. He's going to the Pac-12 next year. So I do look at San Diego State. They have plenty of options, but if anything we learned from what this year was for San Diego State, rebounding was the biggest problem on this team. What can you do to rebuild your roster, rebuild this lineup, understanding that you're probably going to have scoring with LZ Harrington and Latrell Davis? Who can you get to come in and just be a brute on the boards? Because that's what won a lot this year in college basketball. Michigan and Arizona were 2 of the best rebounding teams in the country. It's not a coincidence that they were both 1 seeds in the NCAA tournament. So what can you look to for that? All right, the text line is piling up with a bunch of sports movies.
Got a couple of these.
858 Friday Night Lights, but the movie, see, I like the show better.
The show is better, although I am a big Billy Bob Thornton fan.
Looking at Tim McGraw wasted off his ass in the back of a car is pretty funny, but I guess that was a really sad scene in the movie. But
you bring up the most depressing part.
913 Hoosiers. Hoosiers is one of my all-time
Fantastic.
favorites. 858 Major League, greatest sports movie ever.
I knew I was forgetting. Major League has to be top 3.
Tin Cup, Kevin Costner golfing. The scene where he just refuses to take his caddy's advice and keeps hitting the ball into the water is classic. 619, best sports movie of all time is Major League. Can't beat Willie Mays Hayes and Wild Thing.
I've been cut already. I mean, one of the great scenes of all time.
Yeah, it's there's some great ones. Keep them coming in. If you missed it, 1993, April 7th was the date of Sandlot's initial theater
Caddyshack,
release.
of course.
Caddyshack.
Surprised no Happy Gilmore's on here.
Brent Sperry quoted Rodney Dangerfield to me this morning from Caddyshack when
Hell yeah.
he saw my shirt for today and said, you know,
You do look, yeah.
to quote Rodney Dangerfield, it looks good on you, but not on me.
But the problem with ranking sports movies is, like, it's hard to compare a movie like Coach Carter in Semi-Pro because they're two completely different movies, but they are. So if you're ranking comedies, Major League, Semi-Pro, Caddyshack, like there is a
I mean,
cut.
it's shocking that Blades of Glory isn't on this list.
Oh, how do we forget Blades of Glory?
Gets the people going. All right, take a quick break here. Long shots on the other side. We got some redemption that needs to happen. You know, it's funny. Ever since I made the biblical jokes about long shots, long shots hasn't gone very well.
Didn't we hit the other day?
I don't think so.
I thought we did.
We didn't hit over the weekend. We definitely didn't hit last night.
No, I hit one of these the other day.
You hit one early last week.
First off, I have been on a heater. Last night, I didn't know that Roddy Gale.
On a heater?
Listen.
But once in the last 3 weeks.
Roddy Gale. I put full blame on Roddy Gale last night. He's getting paid a lot of money, so these athletes can hear it now. Roddy Gale cannot make one free throw for a backdoor cover. Very frustrating.
All right, well, let's get to some long shots on the other side and see if Tuesday can be a little nicer. By the way, it's official now. LeBron James will be out of tonight's game against the Thunder.
Yeah,
Lakers playing with the skeleton crew.
Luke Kennard dropping 40 tonight on Shea.
San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. It's the zone. Sammy will take over then with Going Long with Sammy. Schaefer and Sliwa, our brand new afternoon drive show, will finish off your day. Our buddy Rich on YouTube saying Bad News Bears coming of age. I love
Great
the
film.
Bad News Bears. I love the original Bad News Bears, not the Billy Bob one as much, but the original Bad News Bears, Tanner, the character from that movie, one of my favorite movie characters of all time. A-Man says Hoosiers all day for sports movies. Jay Silv says Field of Dreams, which is amazing. Kevin Costner kind of has a stranglehold on sports movies. And A-Man also says The Big Lebowski. Are we qualifying The Big Lebowski just because a lot of it takes place in a bowling alley, a sports movie?
Yeah, I think we are. By the way, A-Band was given excellent song recommendations, and unfortunately it was not in the logs. I couldn't play it.
913 is asking if Die Hard is a sports movie. Well, it's a Christmas movie, so I'm going to say sure. John McClane
How is the only time they mention sports in Die Hard is when they're watching the USC Notre Dame game when he comes into Nakatomi Plaza?
He's got to crawl through the ducts. That takes a certain level of athleticism.
By the way,
he walks on glass.
By the way, this hit me in the break. We forgot the greatest sports movie of all time.
Hit me with it.
Not even close.
Dodgeball?
Well, phenomenal. I can hear that one. Kingpin.
Kingpin's great.
I mean, Ernie McCracken. Come on now.
Kingpin's great.
The Big Earn.
There's a million of them. For me, it is probably Miracle, because Miracle I could watch 5 times a year and still feel the same way about it. I'll tell you another one that's an absolute sleeper is a UFC movie, Warrior with Tom Hardy.
Yes, that's a great one.
That creeps into my top 5 movies, period, ever. The performance Nick Nolte gives as the drunk dad is amazing. Tom Hardy's great in that movie. What's his name? Brendan Edgerton as the other brother is great.
Yeah, that's a great movie. The Fighter with Wahlberg is a good one.
That's the one where Christian Bale's scary skinny, isn't it?
Yeah,
that movie makes me a little nervous.
I don't want to spoil it, but it's like kind of a fighting movie.
I mean, the movie's been out for 20 years, so I think it's okay to spoil.
Yeah, because he's on crack, right? So
right.
He's not really fighting anymore.
All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Long shots is what we do every day at this time, where Sammy tries to make us all some money. Let's see if he can do so here today. Sammy, smash.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money and you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance.
Say that man his money.
With long shots.
Jay Silv's coming through with White Men Can't Jump. That's a great
Of
sports
course.
movie. Woody
White
Harrelson,
Men
Wesley
Can't
Snipes.
Jump. Huh?
That movie's also the soundtrack of my life, but because I can't jump. But Jay Silv's great call. My parents probably showed me that movie when I was way too young.
Really?
Yeah, I was a big Cheers fan when I was a kid, so anything Woody Harrelson I was all about.
Hell yeah.
All right,
Woody's
Sammy,
the
where are we
man.
going?
All right, you know what we're doing? We're going to the association. This is where we have the best luck gambling. Okay? Because baseball pisses me off because all of a sudden it's some guys decide not to just play on random nights.
Direct quote from Sammy yesterday. Dodgers are losing this game. 14 runs later. Never mind.
I love watching baseball. It is one of my favorite sports, but betting baseball is something to behold. All right, so we're going to the association. Some big matchups in the NBA tonight. And no, we're not talking about the Lakers and the Thunder. Don't need to talk about that game. But let's go to the Heat and the Raptors. Toronto is a 1.5 point favorite in this game. We're going to the point total, though. 240.5. This is an extremely large number. I mean, that is they're saying this a 120 to 120 game is hitting the under. And look, I get it. Toronto has a lot of scores. Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, players like that. And then on the Miami side, Bam Adebayo's fantastic. Tyler Herro was questionable, is now listed as probable for the game. Norman Powell, they got a lot of big time scores, so I get why this line is high. But these are two teams that really need it. So Miami's right there in the 10th spot, trying to climb up and possibly be able to host a home game in the play-in. And then you got Toronto, who is trying to pass Atlanta after Atlanta dropped to the Knicks last night. Under 240.5. Again, when we get to this time of year, it takes a minute before the sports books adjust because we're used to the first half of the season. Teams aren't playing a lot of lockdown defense in the NBA. But as we get to where it's playoff basketball time, and we're a week out from the season ending, this is where the defense starts to lock in, and it will bring the lines down about 10 to 15. The sports books have not adjusted yet. 240.5 is way too high of a number. Has been bet up. Give us the under in that game. All right. Hornets Celtics. Now, if people have been paying attention, this Charlotte Hornets team is good. This team could is not a team. I'm not saying they're going to go on a run the Eastern Conference because they're extremely young, but this is a team who quietly made one of the best acquisitions at the NBA trade deadline, acquiring Kobe White. This is a guy that I don't know what the Chicago Bulls were doing. The Chicago Bulls giving up on him. I mean, he was a fantastic scorer for them. They can never put any pieces around him. But now you got Con Knippel, who was going to be the rookie of the year until Cooper Flagg had the weekend he had. One of the best three-point shooters, literally of any rookie ever so far. You got LaMelo Ball, who's playing out of his mind, averaging about 20 points per game, running the offense, having about 7 assists. Brandon Miller. Now you had Kobe White to that mix. Musa Diabate playing some really good basketball right now. This Charlotte team is a lot deeper than people give them credit for. Now, in the previous 2 matchups this year, the first matchup, the Charlotte Hornets blew the Celtics off the floor. Beat them, had it right here. 118-89. Second matchup, Celtics blew them off the floor, 114-99. I am rolling with Charlotte tonight in the Garden, plus 4.5, simply because Charlotte needs it more. Boston is locked in that number 2 spot. The chances of the Knicks catching them are very, very slim to none, and them catching Detroit, there's not as much on this game. The Celtics are going to be limiting Jason Tatum's minutes the last week of the season because there's not a ton of incentive for the Celtics because they're not really moving up or down. Whereas the Charlotte Hornets are in that 8 spot right now. They're currently tied with the Orlando Magic and the Philadelphia 76ers at 7, 8, and 9. They're only 2 games out of possibly moving in the 5th spot against Atlanta. So they really need this game. They're coming off a big win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think they get it, plus 4.5. Give us the points, even in Boston against one of the best teams in the NBA. All right, and then we're going to the nightcap. Rockets, Suns. Now, I know we like going home dogs. Houston Rockets are going to win this game. Houston Rockets smell blood in the water. The Lakers are obviously in a free fall. No Luka, no Reeves. I mean, the chances of them beating the Thunder tonight are slim to none, especially with LeBron out. So the Lakers are falling down the standings right there. They have dropped. The Nuggets have now passed the Lakers. The Lakers are in the 4th spot. Lakers are 1 game up on the Houston Rockets. But the Lakers do have the tiebreaker against Houston because they beat them 2 out of 3 times this season. So they have to make up 2 games. Houston's going to be playing their tail off tonight, even in Phoenix. Phoenix kind of locked into that 7 spot. The chances of them catching Minnesota going 7-6 is going to be pretty tough considering Minnesota is up 3 games on them. So Phoenix will be playing for a lot, but again, Minnesota is going to win a couple games this week. They're not going to catch them. The Houston Rockets do have flaws. They don't have a point guard. We've talked about it excessively. Reed Shepherd is not a true point guard. Kevin Durant is best when he's playing on the wing and being able to score that way. And I know the Phoenix Suns do have good guards. You know, Devin Booker, Jalen Green, you got Dylan Brooks playing out of his mind, but highly motivated Houston team. They are the tallest starting lineup in the league. I think that they're going to be able to take advantage of Şengün. He's a massive mismatch against the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns are a very guard-oriented team. I think Amen Thompson will be able to stick on Booker's hip all night, and Kevin Durant will have a big one, and Alperen Şengün will have a field day with no one to guard him. So I like Houston minus 1.5 on the road. I got the Hornets tonight plus 4.5 going into Boston, and then I like the under on the Heat and the Raptors under 240.5.
I like it a lot. Long shots in the books.
The association is going to do right by us tonight.
You feel good about that one?
I do feel. We picked a couple road teams, but I feel good about these picks. Again, motivation. There's teams locked into certain spots, teams that have a lot to play for. I do feel very good about this lineup tonight.
I'm gonna need you to screenshot that one and send it over to me. My phone lost service halfway through.
I will get you a screenshot.
All right, appreciate that. Sammy's long shots in the book for today. Hour number 2, we got a busy one. Kevin Acee is going to be joining us. Also, Paul Skeens on the mound facing off with the Padres today. What do you need to see from this Padres lineup against Paul Skeens to trust this streak that the Padres are all of a sudden on offensively? And also, a tradition, unlike any other, is starting on Thursday. Today is the practice round. We're getting the first reports in from some of the players out at Augusta. We'll get you an update on the Masters coming up at 1:15. Lakeside Rodeo tickets coming up in hour number 2. A lot of shows still to go. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app.
Sport is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Got the Pods getting going here at 3:40 today. Facing Paul Skeens, first time the Padres will see him. Nick Pivetta will be on the mound for the Pods, coming off that 3-game win streak, looking to extend it to 4 for the Padres. And the Michigan won the national championship last night. They are the co-faves along with Duke to win it next year. And we got Laker basketball back on the station at 7:30 tonight. Listen here on San Diego Sports 760. LeBron will not be playing. They're 16.5-point dogs in Los Angeles. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you're not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call a 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
I'm excited about it. It brings a lot of people together.
Makes me mad.
Can we say they're on a roll?
Down the right field line. Trying to come around for first base is Fermin. He will.
Padres take game 1 in Pittsburgh, and we'll get you ready for tonight's game. The Natty goes to the Maize and Blue.
Michigan, the 2026 men's basketball national champions.
And Luca and Reeves heading to Europe for some therapy.
I mean, I'm no doctor, but
Plus,
Give me the Hawks at home against the Knicks -1.5.
That's not going to work.
Give us Orlando +1.5.
Okay, sure.
Blue Jays have been sitting on this game. I think they win this one, especially there's a reason the Dodgers throwing Wrobleski out there.
Shohei Ohtani with his third home run of this road trip.
I think Michigan's winning its second national title. And I think they actually win this by 10 to 12 points.
Yes!
-6.5 to Michigan. Put a couple units on there.
let's head into the studios of San Diego Sports 760 and get in the zone with Fletch and Sammy.
It's hour number 2 here on San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. And I actually think I'm going to stick around for a little bit today. Yes, Sammy?
Yes, you are. My golf expert, Ben Fletcher, going to be breaking down the Masters. I'm excited to have you on, dude.
Excited for that, man. This Masters, there is probably 10 to 15 guys who I could easily see winning this thing, which is as good as it gets for the Masters, because usually that list is like 3 or 4 you feel good about going in. I think it's an excellent field. It's the course conditions are going to be brutal. We'll talk about that coming up in a bit. Plus, Rory McIlroy has spoken, the defending champ.
Rory.
In fact, we're going to hear from Rory coming up in about 10 minutes. So stay tuned here on San Diego Sports 760. I do want to start this hour off with something we'll get into with Kevin Acee at 1:30 today, but I want our thoughts on it first. And text line and YouTube chat, feel free to jump in 70470. Start your message with team or on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. This is kind of the opportunity for the Padres, right? This is what we've been waiting for since the opening series of the season. Like we saw them go against Tariq Skubal and the offense just kind of crawled into a shell of itself. Now, baseball can be very streaky. And at the beginning of the season, the Padres offense was dead silent. We couldn't really see anything from them. And a lot of the issues from last year, runners in scoring position, timely hitting was there to begin the season with the Padres. Now, over the last 4 or 5 games, we've seen a lot of those issues go to the wayside. And I think timely hitting has actually been a huge strength for the Padres over the last few games. So today against Paul Skeens, who you would easily put in the conversation with the Skubal, near the top of the league in terms of pitchers right now. What do you need to see from this Padres offense against Skeens to make you feel good about it? Or are you just going into this game like, yeah, probably Skeens is going to go 7 innings, even though he won't because the Pirates like to keep him out of the games earlier. But Skeens is probably going to go, let's say 6 innings, give up no runs and kind of cook the Padres. Are you fine with that? Because I don't know that I am.
No, I'm not. And that can't be the excuse of, hey, they're facing good pitching, so the bats don't show up. Because again, I know we're a long ways away from the playoffs and the season just started, but these are the kind of pitchers that you have to beat if you want to win a World Series. And that's the standard for the Padres. I think I can speak for everyone in San Diego. Everyone's tired of just getting the playoffs and bowing out in the first round or maybe winning a series and not being real competitors. I mean, the standard is how do you win a World Series? And so far, they were bad against Skubal, bad against Valdez, and then not very good against Flaherty either. They were decent against Logan Webb. I give them a lot of credit for how they made Ranger Suarez look very pedestrian on Sunday, and against Chandler yesterday, who does have a lot of talent, they got after him. So Padres starting to turn a little bit of a corner here, but it is kind of a pivotal game on a Tuesday in April because you look at it and go, if the Padres can get to Paul Skeens, then all of a sudden we put away the questions of, hey, the bats, this is very concerning, and you maybe chalk it up to just a slow start to the season through the first week. If the Padres get mowed down by Paul Skeens, I'm not going to come on here tomorrow and be like, oh, sky's falling, but it also is kind of playing into the narrative that they can't hit against the elite. And these are the kind of pitchers you're going to have to see in the postseason. So, yeah, I think today is kind of pivotal because if the Padres want to quiet the bat concerns, you go get after Skeens or at least knock him out of the game earlier than the Pirates want him to. And hell, I believe the Mets did it game one. They destroyed Paul Skeens. So it's not like he's untouchable. This is a big day for Tatis, Machado, and some of the big Padre bats.
That's kind of where I was going, Sammy. I'm not necessarily concerned with how Freddie Fermin does against Paul Skeens. It'd be great if we see Freddie Fermin, and I haven't looked at the lineup today. He may not be in it, but it'd be great if we saw a Freddie Fermin or a Jake Cronenworth get a couple of knocks off of Paul Skeens. What I want is incredibly competitive at bats, even if they take an 0-for-4 today from Fernando Tatis, Manny Machado, and Jackson Merrill. I want to see them going to war with Paul Skeens because it's literally your best against their best. That's what I would like to see from today, even if it doesn't amount in a win. And maybe Paul Skeens does go out and cook them and go 6 innings scoreless, and none of those guys get a hit. But can I at least see Jackson Merrill, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Manny Machado look like they belong on the same field with Paul Skeens and look like in the future when there's more stakes on the line that this matchup matters?
Yes. And it just can't be the narrative of, oh, well, Scooble's going, they're losing. Skeens is going, they're done.
Correct.
That can't be the fact that every series, most teams in Major League Baseball who you're going to play have at least a guy that they feel pretty comfortable saying is an ace.
Now, it's funny. The Saturday game, I think it was against the Red Sox, Fernando Tatis Jr. was completely non-competitive in his first 4 at-bats of the game. I think struck out 4 times. And then in the 9th inning against Aroldis Chapman, smacked that double off the wall in center field. Like, that can't happen against a guy like Paul Skeens. If for Fernando Tatis Jr., everyone's going to have bad games in the Major League. Sure, that's fine. And he largely put a Band-Aid over a terrible game with that hit, which ended up being one of the game-winning hits on Saturday against the Red Sox. But can Fernando stand in for his first few at-bats against Paul Skeens? He's probably going to face him twice, if not 3 times here early in this game, and look like, oh, this is one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball going against one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball, because that's what it should be. That's where your expectations should be with this Padres team.
760 says Skeens is otherworldly. Get his pitch count up, get base runners, get him after the 5 innings, game of bullpens. Agreed. And it's not always against a guy like Skeens. It's like playoff baseball. It's rare in the playoffs that you see teams batting around the base pass. That's why the Padres had problems last year, because they could kind of bat guys around the base pass, but they weren't hitting bombs. And against elite level pitching, you have to capitalize on the few mistakes that they make, because the chances of a guy like Paul Skeens giving up 4 consecutive hits are very, very small. And it can happen, but it's very, very small. So to 760's point, it is Luis Ariz got crushed a lot last year. And did he come up? Did he play the best in the toughest situations with runners on? No. But one thing you got to give that guy is he would work pitch counts. And if he struck out, it would be 9 pitches. It would be 10. And it feels like when Fernando and Manny, who are playing well as the last couple of days, but when they're off, it can be quick. It can be 1, 2, 3. And against a guy like Skeens, that just cannot happen. Because if you let him work his pitch count, I mean, it's a pretty tall task.
Yeah, I mean, the season doesn't hinge on a win or a loss today, right?
Yeah, of course.
But the narratives around Padres players, and specifically the stars on this team, are that great pitching is going to shut them down. And can you buck that narrative a little bit today is really what I'd be looking for. Interested to see what Kevin Acee is going to talk about with Paul Skeens being on the mound today for the Pirates. He'll be joining us coming up at 1:30. All right, very, very soon we will be giving away those Lakeside Rodeo tickets, so don't go anywhere. I would imagine within the next, 5 or 6 minutes, those tickets will be given away. So stay tuned for that. Sammy, time for the big 3 of hour number 2. Some interesting stuff coming out in the NFL draft. Maybe we'll get to that in a little bit also. Sammy, smash.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
All right, Sammy, where are we heading?
Fernando Mendoza not going to the NFL draft, staying with his family in Miami, which is kind of baller. He's from Miami, just won a national championship in Miami against Miami. So it kind of flex for Fernando Mendoza, but he's not attending the draft. Do we like the number 1 overall pick not attending on draft day?
I am more than okay with it. However, it has to be done for the right reasons. So, do you remember when Tua was getting drafted? Tua Tagovailoa, he stayed home for the draft. And when they went to his living room, it was his whole family around him. It was a very much a culture thing for Tua Tagovailoa because there were Hawaiian leis everywhere. The room was kind of decked out in what looked like Golden Girls decorations, but that was very fitting for Tua Tagovailoa. Now, rewind to last year's draft. Do we all remember the spectacle that put on for Shedeur Sanders? The thing was sponsored. He was live streaming it himself. There were advertisements all over the place.
The way to do it if you're not getting picked.
I mean, I guess, but that was what Shedeur Sanders' strategy was. Now, everyone knows Fernando Mendoza is going number 1 overall to the Raiders. We've known this for months now, we feel like. Unless something shocking happens, Fernando Mendoza will be the first name called on draft night. I could see having an opinion where you're saying, oh, this is so crappy of Mendoza to do. He should be there to walk the stage, blah, blah, blah. I'll say this. If Fernando Mendoza is doing this because he wants to be with his family and everything you just laid out, Sammy, which this is kind of funny being that he's going to be in Miami where he just won the national championship, I'm fine with it. If Fernando Mendoza is doing this to make sure Adidas or Nike or Nutella, who was just in space with a great advertisement, is prominently featured in his home during draft night, I think it's really lame, man. So I'm curious to see what it looks like. But if this is a sponsored event all of a sudden, I think it's really lame.
I have no problem with this, but I will say, like I was watching Pat to the draft last night because I'm a draft nerd and like hearing about every single prospect.
Sure.
It is the early 2000s, and I get why players don't do this because there has been some guys that have fallen over the years. Aaron Rodgers, Shedeur Sanders. Could you imagine if he had showed up there? Will Levis.
That's the biggest one. He was there on draft night, ready to go, and then he falls out of the first 2 rounds. So now he has a mayonnaise named after him.
This is agents don't let this happen. Agents now, Mendoza would be fine because even if the Raiders traded the pick, which they're not going to do, it would be because the team jumped up to get Fernando Mendoza. But it was fun when everyone was in the green room, seeing the agents get the call. And I get it. If I was an agent, I would never let my quarterback or my player sit there and the cameras rushing in their face and their family, and it's an emotional night and you're falling on draft night. But it's a reason why we love the NFL draft, besides the fact that your teams are getting better, they're making moves, it's the greatest real life reality show. Everyone remembers watching the Aaron Rodgers clip where he's sitting there and he gets picked by Green Bay and he's seething and he's talking, to the reporter. I mean, go back to Mel Kiper and the Colts calling him out and Bill Tobin. I mean, it really is a reality show that happens every year. And it is kind of a bummer that we don't get all the prospects sitting there anymore because that kind of added another element to it.
Now, to be fair to Will Levis, who we were just talking about, NFL Draft Night made his girlfriend a millionaire. Gia Duddy, who's now like super famous and is literally worth millions of dollars, she got put on the map by NFL Draft Night, looking disappointed in her boyfriend not getting drafted.
858 said, considering I'm going to my first NFL draft this year, I'll be able to say I've been to more NFL drafts than Fernando Mendoza. That's stupid and a direct slap in the face to the league and me.
That is the other part of it. Like, how many Raider fans are going to the draft to see their quarterback of the future drafted? That part kind of sucks.
I will say, as someone who's been to an NFL draft in Kansas City, it's a great experience.
It's not something on my list.
I would not do it again. And if I go have a blast, it's awesome. And it'll be a fun party. And if you're drinking, you got people going, it's a great time. But because it's really not about the draft, they're calling the picks out. And there's like a band playing. It's not really as much about like the analysis of each player, which I'm into. But yeah.
Do you go NFL Network or ESPN?
I got watching my boy Mel.
I know you are. See, I like what DJ does a little better. We're a split show.
Well, no, here's what happens. Here's what I do. I record both.
Okay.
And the ABC broadcast with the prospects. So when the Chiefs pick, I go back and watch every analysis from every network of what happened.
You really are a draft nerd, man. All right, what's next?
Let's go to stay in the NFL. Why would we leave? The Giants, John Harbaugh, so Dexter Lawrence was requested a trade yesterday. Very talented defensive tackle. Still has 2 years remaining on his deal. Apparently, double-digit teams have called the Giants about getting him. Giants coach John Harbaugh today had the quote of a decade. Said, "Everybody is tradable." In response to this, asking about if there is lists of guys who are who are not tradable. I said everybody is tradable. Do you like this from the brand new Giants head coach?
Depends on what they're getting back for Sexy Dexy. Now, the dude's still a stud. I think he's in his late 20s. He's not 30 yet. Dexter Lawrence would make a lot of teams very, very happy. He is an absolute fan favorite in New York, which that's the part that's kind of shocking to me, because the NFL will do this. I mean, fan favorites usually get a little bit better treatment. He is like fabric to what this new era of New York Giants football looks like. I'm a little surprised if they are gung-ho on trading him unless they're getting back a haul, which they probably would.
I love this from John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh is like, I'm here. I'm excited about the amount of talent that they have. But the Giants have been so poorly run for years now, where you're having guys like Kayvon Thibodeau and now Dexter Lawrence requesting trades, which is 100% in there, right?
I didn't realize he had such a down year last year.
I mean, not that Kayvon has requested a trade, but there's been some rumblings there that he's lack of playing time, frustrated. I love the Harbaugh's like, this is my team now. We're figuring this out. Jackson Dart looks like the future, but if they're not good, probably picking a quarterback next year. I'm sure John Harbaugh has a long leash of a long runway of years to get this team back up and running. And this is kind of a see prove it year of who's going to be a part of this organization moving forward. So I like the quote. Quickly, out of the NBA, Giannis. So things have gotten ugly between the Giannis and the Bucks. Per Shams Charania, they have like a toxic relationship, both of them. The Bucks are frustrated that he wants to keep playing. Giannis says, you're not going to shut me down. I want to keep playing despite the fact that the Bucks are out of the postseason, jeopardizing his injury risk. Where do you fall on this whole kind of Bucks Giannis saga?
The team doesn't have to listen to him. That's the number one thing. The team holds the contract. Even if he wants to keep playing and being available, you don't have to put him in any games. Like, the Bucks hold all the cards here. This is crazy to me that it's even a story. If the team wants to come out and publicly say, we don't want him to play, don't play him. No matter what he says, it doesn't matter. You're protecting your investment.
Right.
Like, the longer this thing drags on, the more I'm thinking, all right, well, the Bucks are just soft.
And it's like the Bucks, it's over. Giannis is on the move in the offseason. The chances of it, they tried to rekindle the relationship and keep it going. It didn't work out. To that end, why are you so concerned with what Giannis thinks? If Giannis goes F you to the franchise, who cares? If I'm the Bucks, there is no way Giannis is seeing the floor and potentially jeopardizing a guy who is 31 years old, has had an injury history, in ruining the one thing the Bucks have going for them is they can reset their franchise with draft picks. I'm surprised that the Bucks are giving Giannis this much power in the organization.
We just got a text message in from the 858. I'm not even kidding, 858. I will foot the bill for this. I will foot the bill for the creation of this. I will foot the bill for the travel expenses associated with this. You're going to have to check this through security luggage, which I need video of the whole thing. That's going to be your job, 858. My job will be to fund this, and I will absolutely do it. We'll tell you exactly what the idea of the 858 is on the other side. And we're also going to hear from Rory McIlroy right here on San Diego Sports 760. Before we do any of that, Sammy, we realize what's coming up.
Rodeo tickets.
In just a few short weeks, baby. The Lakeside Rodeo, the 62nd annual Lakeside Rodeo. It's happening from Thursday, April 23rd through Sunday, April 26th. The tickets we have for you are for that Sunday, April 26th, the fantastic conclusion. But the Lakeside Rodeo grounds are turning into 4 days of the best rodeo action in Southern California. Bull riding, steer wrestling, rodeo queens, and more. Yes, they're all there, and they're all going to be at the Lakeside Rodeo grounds. We got a pair of tickets for you for Sunday, April 26th. If you would like to win those tickets, now is the time to call. You can buy tickets at lakesiderodeo.com. Sammy, what number caller do we want to give these to?
Number 7.
Caller number 7, you're going to the Lakeside Rodeo, 877-767-4760. You're listening to San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Things are happening here on San Diego Sports 760. Congratulations to Max for winning those Lakeside Rodeo tickets.
Yeah, shout out to Max, man.
Max, I'll see you out at the rodeo. I can't wait for it this year. It's going to be a ton of fun. It is San Diego Sports 760. My name is Ben Fletcher. That person sitting over there, if you're watching on YouTube, his name is Sammy Long. Sammy Long wears black rimmed glasses, has an excellent head of hair, and looks like he may be the spawn of Mel Kiper Jr. That is maybe the first thing I thought of when I saw Sammy for the first time.
When I was like 12.
And I still think that to this day. The 858 has texted into the show and said, Fletch, please help me design a big head poster to hold at the NFL draft. I'm going to Pittsburgh for it, and I'm thinking a photoshopped picture of Sammy Long and Mel Kiper Jr. would be a nice thing for me to hold up at the draft.
Dude.
858. I'm not even kidding. This has to happen. I don't know how we make this happen. I'm going to need some help from listeners on designing this poster, but I will get this poster made and I will ship it out to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for you to have for the first 2 days of the NFL draft. And I want you to hold that thing high. I want it to be on ESPN's camera. And it's going to be very much Mel Kiper Jr. looking like a fatherly figure to Sammy Long. And there will be words on said poster that say, is this my dad? Or is this my son? Or DNA test required? Something along those lines. This has to happen. And 858, you and me are the guys for the job.
I was like thinking, I'm like, there's a lot of like kind of semi celebs that come through iHeart San Diego.
Like Justin Bieber's been here, dude.
Okay, so big celebs. I don't really get starstruck by people, but if Mel Kiper walked in here, like that would strip me out a little bit. Like I would have a hard time talking to Mel.
The one that got me probably more than anything was we had Kevin Nealon in studio a couple times.
That would be awesome.
It's like he walked in and I'm like, I don't know what to do. You're Kevin Nealon. You've been responsible for as many laughs as just about anybody in my life, and now you're sitting here and we're talking to you.
My parents were walking our dog in LA today and ran into the one and only Andy Richter.
How about that? Andy
chopping
Richter.
it up.
He was great on Dancing with the Stars this last season.
He was on Dancing with the Stars.
He was the lifeblood of Dancing with the Stars.
Really? I didn't know that.
He was the soul. He was the heart. They kept him on, even though he was like bottom in voting for 6 straight weeks. They kept him coming back.
Yeah, because it's Andy.
There was some ballot stuffing going on, but it was pretty cool to see. But yes, 858, we're going to make that happen. All right, we got to hear from Rory McIlroy. We are 2 days away from the Masters beginning. Congratulations to all of you that got Thursday and Friday off of work. I can't wait for this weekend, man. This is some of my favorite sports watching that happens year in and year out. Tonight is the Masters Champions Dinner. We went over the menu a couple weeks ago. We can do that again later in the show if you would like. But Rory McIlroy, in his press conference today, this is the defending champ, this is the host of the Champions Dinner, was asked, dude, why didn't you include more Irish food in your dinner considering you're from Ireland? Here's what Rory said.
But also wanted it to be something that all the other people in that room would enjoy as well. People keep asking me, why didn't you go more Irish? And I say, because I want to enjoy the dinner as well.
Good to see Rory laughing.
And good for Rory, by the way, of understanding that this doesn't just need to be no, it should be a good food thing. Now, I looked up traditional Irish food. The first thing is an Irish stew. How about boxy potatoes, which are essentially pancakes made out of potatoes? They do lots of soda bread, which have you ever had soda bread?
No. What is soda bread?
Soda bread is like a really dry, dense bread that I eat once a year, and I eat it on St. Patrick's Day.
Good.
It's not terrible, but it's hard to eat. And then they eat a lot of bacon and cabbage. Not really a lot of fancy food coming out of Ireland.
Bacon. What if someone for the Masters dinner just served breakfast? They just had like bacon, eggs, and pancakes.
Well, if it was traditional Irish food, it'd be a lot of seafood chowder.
Does
that sound good to you?
Seafood chowder? That sounds great.
What?
Chowder's fantastic. You ever had chowder?
I like clam chowder. I don't know if that's
well, you just replace the clam with other seafood.
I don't know.
Fish.
I'm looking at all this Irish food right now. None of it really looks all that great. So good for Rory.
Can you imagine like Chris Goddard eating eating stew from Ireland?
By the way, Chris Goddard, Ludwig Aberg, and John Rahm are in a pairing together for the first day of the Masters.
I can't wait, man. I wonder what is it for people who have gotten to, enjoy the Masters dinner every year. I wonder what has been thought of as the historic, like greatest dinner put on by a former champion.
I'd love to go back and look at all the different ones and see which one I would want to attend the most. Honestly, I think Rory kind of knocked it out of the park. The food looks amazing this year. All right, we got Kevin Acee coming up next. Kevin Acee subsists on a diet of chicken Caesar salads, and I'm pretty sure that's about it. He does not eat fun. He's in Pittsburgh right now.
He's a Caesar salad guy.
A big Caesar salad guy, Kevin
Really?
Acee. Yeah, he doesn't. So he goes, literally, he tours the country every single year. And instead of getting the best food in every place he goes to, he just gets the same hotel salad everywhere he goes, which is kind of lame of Kev.
That makes a lot of sense.
He's going to join us on the other side. Kevin Acee's our Padres insider. He joins us next live on the iHeartRadio app.
This war is sponsored by Unbound.org. Michigan national champs last night. Wins it over UConn 69-63. They opened up at the sports books as co-favorites alongside Duke and Michigan to repeat for next year. We got the Padres getting going here in a few hours, taking on Paul Skeens. Nick Pivetta will be on the mound for the Pods. Pods looking to extend that win streak from 3 to 4. We got the Lakers back tonight. Coverage on San Diego Sports 760. Taking on the Thunder at 7:30. Missing the entire Big Three. LeBron will not be playing tonight. The Thunder are 18.5-point favorites in Los Angeles. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You don't change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. It's the Zone. We got Kevin Acee on, our Padres insider out in Pittsburgh. Hello, Kevin. How are you?
I am cold, but I'm good.
Yeah, cold. So was the entire Pittsburgh fan base last night. What the hell was that? Everyone soft out there?
Well, put your money where your mouth is. Why don't you come on out? Come out and sit out here for a few hours and watch the Pirates play bad baseball in, what feels like about 35 degrees.
No, I'm okay staying here in San Diego, Kev. I like it here a lot. Kevin Acee, before we get into some of the Padres baseball stuff that we do want to talk to you about, I'm sure you're aware that the Masters is coming up on Thursday. And now I don't know what your golf game is like, but I know your food game could use some work. Now, tonight is the Masters Champions Dinner from Rory McIlroy, who is being described as the most expensive dinner of all time at the Masters.
Ooh.
There are grilled elk sliders. There are Wagyu filet mignon. There's a sticky toffee pudding. So if I were to ask you, Kevin Acee, one appetizer, one main course, one dessert, what would it be?
It would probably be a good steak, and it would be something seafood like it would be a seafood tower. I'm not even going to try to discern. It would be a seafood tower, heavy on the lobster, the crab, and then what do? I get a dessert? I get a dessert.
A dessert.
Well, it would be look at me being economical. It would be my wife's toffee that she makes at Christmas. It's the only time of year that I will indulge, and it's phenomenal. And when I say indulge, like as soon as I start, I don't stop from Thanksgiving to Christmas eating it.
That's nice. And that's where Kevin Acee gets a little bit of a baby bump, a little bit of a belly on.
A little baby bump.
What about
I gotta work it off the rest of the year?
What about a little drink, Kevin? You're an old-fashioned guy, aren't you?
I'm an old-fashioned guy. Yeah, that keeps me from having too many. You know what I mean? If I have, something, it's good. A good old-fashioned.
All right, Sammy, ask him something about the Padres.
Yeah, Kevin, how do you, so Vibes obviously better with the team right now on the 3-game win streak. What'd you make of Germán Marquez's performance yesterday? Do you think that's something that he could keep up, or it was kind of a one-off because we know he plays well against the Pirates?
Yeah, he does pitch well against the Pirates. So, the last time he did it was 2022. So I think, hey, that was impressive, and he gutted it out. But no, they're not a great team. His next start, he gets to face. Things were a lot better. When he missed, it wasn't in a place that, guys were going to do damage, or at least they didn't last night. And so he got away with those, and his curveball was just simply a lot better. So, number 5 starter, I think what it gives you is, okay, maybe. That's all. That's all last night does. Because, okay, maybe.
Well, and Germán Marquez is all about getting them to the next guys, right? Like the hope is that Griffin Canning can come back and be something useful. Joe Musgrove, same thing. Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, joining us here today on San Diego Sports 760. Kev, today's another challenge. Look, the Pirates had their young stud. I keep forgetting his name. What's his name? Sammy, the pitcher.
Bubba Chandler?
Bubba Chandler yesterday, who I thought looked great at times, but obviously just makes a lot of mistakes. He's young. Today's Paul Skeens. Different story altogether. This is one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. Kevin, when you look at Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, Jackson Merrill, what do you need to see from them against a pitcher like Paul Skeens today?
Well, it'd be great if they ran into a mistake. It'd be great for them, right? But they got to have the way that they are attacking their at-bats now. Like, Tatis is having good at-bats. He is. So keep doing that and put together some hits. I mean, no Pirate starters giving up a home run. Padres aren't hitting a lot of home runs, so I'm not, counting on that. Though that's the funny thing about baseball. They could hit 4 tonight off Skeens. Don't think that'll happen, but it could. They are putting together good at-bats. I think it's a good time for them to go against Paul Skeens. I did not just say that they're going to, score 4 or 5 runs against him, but, they are. And if you're putting together good at-bats, your margin for succeeding is going to be less against Paul Skeens, but you can still put together some stuff, get a couple runs, and fortunately for you, you have Nick Pivetta on the mound. And, you say Marquez does well against the Pirates. Right behind him is Nick Pivetta. In terms of active pitchers and their ERA against the Pirates, and Nick pitched really well last time. So I'm really looking forward to a good game tonight. Nice quick game, even though I'll be in the heated press box. I'm looking for a nice quick game and everybody get out of the cold.
You mentioned those competitive at-bats. Is there anything that's changed over the last 3 days? Why the bats have been better? Are they approaching anything differently, or is this simply they're just starting to turn on balls?
More guys doing it. There have been good at bats from game one. There have, but 4 good at bats and then 2 empty ones. It's innings over, right? Or I should say, 2 or 3 good at bats and then 2 empty ones in between those, inning over. And it doesn't look like they're doing very well. But they have had good at bats. Been writing about it. They've been saying it. You don't want to say it too loud when they're batting 188 as a team, but it was real. Now, did it matter? Well, early on, yeah, I think it was okay for us to talk about, but it results, then that's what matters. So more consistent, more guys doing it more times. And that is when it starts to show up to the rest of us of, oh, okay, these are good at bats. But I'm telling you, they're putting the ball in play even though they're facing strikeout pitchers. They're taking long at bats when they need to more often. They're trying to jump on these strikeout guys and getting the ball in play. I'm telling you, they have had good at bats throughout, more good at bats than bad ones.
10 games in, Kevin. That means 10 post-game press conferences with Craig Stammen. That means 10 games of understanding how he's setting the lineup, when he's setting the lineup, and it's not somebody from his bench of coaches. But Craig Stammen, 10 games in, the job you think he's doing?
I think he's doing a fine job. I don't think that and there's how you measure a manager. Did he screw his team? Is he the reason they lost, or did he contribute to a loss? Has Craig made some moves? Yeah, you've talked about him. We've talked about him. I've written about him where we can question him. But has he cost them a game? Now, could some of those moves have cost them a game? Sure. Those handling of Estrada, Peralta in the one loss, maybe. But you know what? Jeremiah Estrada walked 3 batters. Tell me another one where he cost them. Did he leave Michael King in too long, or was it Michael King coming in to start the 6th of his first start against the right-hander, the right move? Where did he cost them a game? I don't think that he did. There has definitely been a learning curve. I've acknowledged, even though I knew there would be, it showed up quicker than I thought, and it's been kind of cool to talk about. But I think that also a lot of people tend to think that the managing of games is the most important thing a manager does, and it's not. It's not. There's not a single person, not a single manager that'll tell you that. There's not a single person in baseball that'll say that that's the most important part of the job. And it's not even close. It's managing your team. It's managing your team in the clubhouse. It's managing your team during the game and on the plane and everywhere. That's the manager's job. And, look, it remains to be seen whether Craig is a good manager, but I think he's done a fine job.
Randy Vasquez obviously have seemed to cement his place in the rotation even when Musgrove gets back. I'm curious, how big of a threat do you see Matt Waldron to Walker Buehler and Germán Marquez when he comes back?
It's a good one, man. It is. That's a great point, and that's one of the big questions coming up, right? They hope that they have that problem to figure out, or is it more of an easy one? And do you move? Is Bueller taking some long relief role? Is Marquez taking a long relief role? I don't know that Waldron would, but maybe he could too. But Matt Waldron is, virtually certain to get a chance to show that he can be a starter in this rotation.
And his status as of right now, he's still on the 15-day IL. He had one rehab start under his belt. Is this a sooner than later problem for the Padres?
Yeah. I mean, get him up maybe 2 more, get him up to 5 innings. I mean, he can stay down there for 30 days, but get him up to 5 innings and he comes back. So,
okay. Well, we'll see, Kev. I didn't love your food choices. I didn't hate them. I do think that around Christmas time, Kevin, I'm going to give you a call and make sure I get some of your, what was it, your wife's toffee?
Yeah, you got it. You knew my food choice was going to be boring. You didn't give me any heads up. Not that it would have been any better.
I know. Sammy and I talked about it. We said, what's Kevin eating today? Probably another Caesar salad.
Yeah, I've been big on the Cobb salads. Had an omelet and oatmeal today. That's all I've had.
That sounds great. I'm sure Pittsburgh has better options than that, Kev, though. You should hear Mudcat talk about Pittsburgh. It's his favorite food city in the country. And you're over here.
Darn good.
I'll have another salad. All right, Kev, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Peace.
It is kind of fascinating that so many of these issues the Padres have. I don't know if adding more mediocre pitchers into the group makes these problems even worse.
Well, it speaks to the importance of the bats because,
but like you saw German Marquez yesterday run into a success game, right? But by Matt Waldron coming in, Griffin Canning coming in, Joe Musgrove coming in, and none of us really knowing what to expect. Much more importantly, the Padres not knowing what to expect from any of those guys. Like, are those options going to be better than a German Marquez and a Walker Bueller who can run into a great game? That's the question I would have.
That's why we've been hammering the lack of bats, not the last 3 games, but the first week.
Sure.
Because German Marquez walks into a great start yesterday. Walker Bueller did not have a great start the other day. They won, but it was because of the bats, because of Merrill, Machado, and some of the big hitting that they did. Walker Bueller did not look very good in that game. So
it's almost like you need to go into a 6-man rotation for a little bit and just see who's hot and then whittle this thing down by the time that the important months start rolling around.
Right. The only guys that you feel good about throwing out there are King, Pivetta, and Vasquez is earning those stripes.
I think so too. And I do think, like, obviously Musgrove needs 5 or 6 starts of opportunity. He's earned that. Right?
Of course.
But what Joe Musgrove are you getting back is the question.
Right, because just because Joe Musgrove comes back doesn't mean that he's going to be the Joe Musgrove we saw 2-3 years ago right off the jump. So it's very important that the bats keep it up, because in starts where Bueller's going, where Marquez, whether it's Canning, whether it's Waldron, Musgrove early on, you're presuming if you get lucky and one of these guys is a great outing, fantastic. But you're presuming that these guys the bats have to come alive and take advantage of the game. So yeah, especially on those starts, the bats have to show up.
All right, our buddy Steven on YouTube is saying, I was told to play Toronto yesterday with Scherzer on the mound. What on earth?
Steven, my guy, I'm very sorry. It hurt all of our wallets. I thought Toronto was going to be ready, considering the Dodgers snatched the World Series out from under them in the 9th inning, but apparently not. The Dodgers, again, may have single-handedly broken.
Maybe.
Broke.
And then when Sammy and I were both confident about Michigan last night covering the spread, and they had the spread covered.
I don't feel bad about that.
90% of the game.
Roddy Gale, again, 2 free throws at the end of the game. You couldn't make one of them.
Cano was missing free throws at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
They couldn't make a 3-pointer to save
in Atlanta was up 10 on New York early in the game. It's a rough night. But listen, we got good picks for tonight. The association is going to get us back on the map.
By the way, was it the Atlanta game, the buzzer beater that went in, the 3/4 court shot? Who had that yesterday? It might not have been Atlanta.
I forgot what game it was, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The 3/4 court shot, it goes in, but it was still on his fingers. Who was that? Damn it. I had that in my brain, but I forgot. All right, San Diego Sports 760. Quick break here. We will close this thing out on the other side. Get you ready for Going Long with Sammy coming up next, live on the iHeartRadio app. Today, April 7th, is the birthday of the release of the Sandlot movie. It came out on April 7th, 1993. But coming up on April 16th, it is the 25th birthday for Valley View Casino and Hotel. Join Valley View Casino and Hotel coming up on Thursday, April 16th through Sunday, April 19th to help celebrate the milestone 25th birthday. Visit us early in our 4-day celebration on Thursday or Friday between 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. to receive a free, beautifully embroidered birthday gift bag full of thoughtfully chosen commemorative gifts. The celebration will continue all weekend long, so come back on Saturday, April 18th and Sunday, April 19th for more birthday festivities. You don't want to miss this milestone 25th birthday celebration at Valley View Casino and Hotel. And while you're there, make sure you're earning rewards while you play. So get that Players Club card activated. If you're not a member yet, signing up is always quick, easy, and free. Plus, when you join the Players Club, you're going to receive over $200 in free offers to use instantly at San Diego's favorite casino. We're talking about $10 of more play, which is free slot play, $10 of match play, $20 off your meal at the Black and Blue Steakhouse, $10 to Patties and Pints, $10 to the cafe. The list goes on and on and on. The more you're going to use your Players Club card on all your favorite slots or table games, the more rewards you're going to earn, like complimentary dining, free hotel stays, luxury gifts, and invitations to exclusive events and more. I'm actually staying out of Valley View Casino and Hotel this weekend on Saturday night. I will make sure to have a full review for you coming up on Monday. Don't miss out. Valley View Casino and Hotel turning 25 on Thursday, April 16th, all the way through Sunday, April 19th to help celebrate the 25th birthday. Join that Ultimate Players Club. Get the $200 in free offers today. To learn more, visit valleyviewcasino.com. All guests 21 and over are invited to enjoy the casino, hotel, and restaurants. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you for a final time here today. Actually, that's not true because I'm going to jump on going long with Sammy to open up his show here in the next 7 or 8 minutes. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be talking some Masters.
We are talking some Masters.
We're going to talk some Masters.
We're talking Augusta.
How about the weather conditions, the course conditions, all the stuff that I get to nerd out over? Sammy's going to let me talk about it.
What is I wasn't familiar with the course conditions. Are they going to be bad this weekend?
Some would argue they're fantastic this weekend, but there is some notable news about the course out at Augusta.
Ooh, so we're going to get into it on the other side.
We're going to get into it, and who it benefits, more importantly, is probably the most important stuff, because this is not your traditional Masters week because of how Augusta National is playing.
Let's call it a tease, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not a bad one either. You might want to stay tuned for the next 10 minutes. You'll hear what I'm talking about. All right. So today was a fun show, man. If you missed it, this is the, what would that be? I guess 29 year anniversary. More than that. 32-year anniversary of The Sandlot as it came out in 1993 on April 7th. One of my favorite movies ever. The text line exploded with all their favorite sports movies on a day like today. And got to be honest, some of you are pretty weak. The fact that it's not just automatically Caddyshack is a little confusing to me, or Miracle. Those would be my two
Miracle's favorites. One that you can watch every time, and there's always some tears that come out.
By the way, like if the Four Nations face-off thing continues and that becomes a regular thing in hockey, which I'm sure it would after the success that it had, that is the thing to watch leading you up into the Four Nations face-off.
Yes,
I watched it right before the Olympic gold medal match between USA and Canada. It is just talk about one of the best acting performances ever. Kurt Russell as the coach, as Herb Brooks, was amazing, and it's just a perfect movie as a whole. All right, we're done for today, but we're going to continue today.
But we're not done.
Coming up next, San Diego Sports 760 on the other side. It's Going Long with Sammy live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Aleve. The Padres and Pirates have game 2 of their series this afternoon. It's going to be Nick Pivetta going for the Padres and Paul Skeens finally going for the Pirates. It's going to be his first game against the Padres in his career. First pitch is set for 3:40. And future number 1 pick of Fernando Mendoza has informed the league that he is not going to attend the draft. Mendoza would be the latest top pick to not attend the draft in person. Trevon Walker, Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, and Myles Garrett all skipped the draft when they were the top pick. The draft will be in Pittsburgh with first round beginning on April 23rd. And tonight we've got Lakers basketball on San Diego Sports 760 when they have their rematch with OKC. Pregame is at 7:15 and tip is at 7:30. At some point, body pain may creep in and become your reality that day, but Aleve is here to keep you moving. One pill gives you up to 12 hours of body pain relief, so don't let pain hold you back. Try Aleve today. Use as directed.
Going long with Sammy.
That's going to be hot.
In depth on the story of the day. Plus, it's warm in the hot seat. Now, it's Sammy Long.
What's up, everybody? You just heard us. I mean, this is basically an extension of In the Zone. In there. But welcome back. Got a packed show for us today. We got Schaefer and Sleewood jumping on for the crossover at the end around 2:45, 2:50. My guy, Aztec Analytics, can be jumping on big time Twitter account following San Diego State basketball at 2:30, talking about all the transfer portal. Then we're going to get into a little Padres facing Skeens as well as Giannis. I'm going to get Brent's thoughts on Giannis and the Bucks beefing a little bit. But Ben, what's up, dude?
Hi.
What's going on? This is your debut on 2 to 3.
It feels great, man. It's an honor to be here. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
First-time caller.
This is fun. I'm proud of you, Sammy. I really am. I've been listening every day as this thing is taking off. You're doing a great job. It's been fun listening. And do we actually get to hear the voice today of Aztec Analytics?
We do get to.
Because he's kind of hidden behind the Aztec Analytics brand for a little bit. Are you going to say his real name?
So I've known this guy for a long time.
Sure.
A long time.
He is legitimately one of my favorite follows on Aztecs basketball.
And he's cagey about putting his name out there. But I think I'm just going to expose him on air and then we'll just let it happen.
I think you should.
I think it'd be more fun. But anyway, he's coming up at 2:30. It is a he. So, you know.
Shocker.
Shocker. Aztec Analytics covering Aztecs basketball. We're getting all that. But Ben Fletcher, as we all know, if you listen to Fletcher and I every day, he's my golf guy. He's more tapped into the golf community than anyone I know. We obviously got the Masters ahead this weekend. We were talking about a little bit last hour, some fun Rory sound about him with the the dinner that he's planning, everything. But you've been high on Jon Rahm and you've been giving that pick out that you think he's actually going to win the Masters. But Scotty hasn't been playing the best golf recently. Not that Rory's really been playing the best golf outside the Ryder Cup and in this event last year with the Masters. Do you think this is a much more wide open field than in years past?
That's what's cool about it is there isn't a dominant golfer right now. And I think that this Masters for last year, there was probably like 5 names that you could seriously consider winning the Masters. This year, I feel like that list is 10 to 12. Now, I gave Jon Rahm when he was the 5th favorite to win. As of today, he is the 2nd favorite to win.
You're moving betting lines.
I guess, but behind Scotty Scheffler, he still has the best odds at plus 490. Jon Rahm is down to plus 910. I got him at like plus 1250, something like that. So if you followed along last week when I gave that pick out, you're in some plus money. I will say for this year, the best follow right now in golf is Michael S. Kim, who is a up and coming star potentially on the PGA Tour. But he's been doing the Augusta Diaries where he's literally taking you through like every part of his day. And it does kind of seem like a 14-year-old girl with her first diary saying, Steven looked at me today and it was so special. Like he's literally writing earlier today for lunch. I had pork chops with apple chutney with mushroom risotto and some butternut squash ravioli.
Sounds good, man.
As he's playing his practice round. So if you want kind of like the inside track on what's happening today during the practice rounds, he's a great person to follow because he'll also get you into how the fairways are rolling, how the greens are rolling at Augusta. Now, what we've learned over the last 24 to 48 hours, it's a very firm Augusta this year. So generally, this part of the country in Augusta, Georgia, gets a ton of rainfall between the months of February and April. They've had none this year. So they've had to do a lot of work trying to overwater, but nothing matches up to what nature can give you on a golf course. So Augusta is going to be rolling And what that means for this year's Masters is it's not going to be the typical, you just have to get it in the fairway off the tee, and then it's your second shot where you make all your money. This year, the long hitters could actually have an advantage, which is generally
DeChambeau.
not. DeChambeau's going to have an advantage this year. Rory, if his back is okay, will have an advantage. But guys who usually get taken out of the Masters because they hit driver too long are actually going to be benefited this year, because even their 3 woods or their 3 irons are going to get extra roll on the fairways. So it's just a game changer for what Augusta usually is.
That's really interesting. You made a point last week about, obviously, Tiger's got a lot going on. He will not be playing in this tournament. And then Phil Mickelson's out of this tournament. And historically, we're big fight fans, boxing, UFC, sports like tennis, where it's about an individual athlete that is kind of almost bigger than the sport that people are tuning in to see. You made the point of the fact that even though we love seeing Tiger out there, we love seeing Phil out there, the fact that they're not there, and this is strictly about who's the best golfer this weekend, kind of adds an element. And I really agree with that, because if Tiger's playing, if Phil's playing, they could be, about to miss the cut and the cameras are still following them. And this weekend really is about who is playing the best golf right now. And I think it actually adds something to the tournament, this field this weekend.
Well, the highlighted group on Thursday is going to be Jon Rahm, who's a huge name, but he's not playing on the PGA Tour these days, so you don't see as much of him. But he's paired with Ludwig Aberg and Chris Gotterup, who 2 years ago were both irrelevant unless you followed golf hardcore. And Chris Gotterup, really, his name, the first time it's popped up on the scene has been this year. So you're getting to see, that's the featured group of Thursday. And it's 2 guys that maybe a lot of golf fans wouldn't have ever heard of, and 1 guy who's not even part of the PGA Tour these days. So I think you are seeing the widening of the net for this year's Masters, and it has potential to be really special. A couple of the storylines sort of sizzling in the background. Colin Morikawa, who is usually a big favorite in this tournament because of the style of golf he plays, is dealing with a pretty serious back injury. So he's all the way down 11th or 12th in odds. And Rory McIlroy, just within the last few days, it's popped up, he's dealing with a back injury. So the guy who won it last year, who's expected to come back and defend his crown, might not be fully healthy for this event. And so you're seeing names pop up the leaderboard. Hell, Brooks Koepka, after playing some good golf over the last couple of weeks, is starting to creep up on the odds. Ludwig Aberg is way up there because he's just the ultimate iron control guy. So I do think there's 10 to 12 guys who could easily win this thing. It's going to be a race. Hopefully the Sunday leaderboard is as packed as it was last year.
So you mentioned some of these guys. I remember when Hideki Matsuyama won it, kind of came out of nowhere. He didn't come out of nowhere, but was certainly not a favorite to win that tournament. What's a guy down the list that you think is playing excellent golf that people are not giving enough respect to and could find himself in the conversation on Sunday?
The value pick is Acee Bhatia. He's played amazing golf over the last year and a half. Now, he's a very mental guy. I think you talked about he still does the kind of chest putter where it's barely legal in today's PGA Tour rules. But he's just playing so good lately, and he's not the longest hitter in the world, but he has excellent control. And a lot of people think that maybe he's still a couple years away, but he's like 57 to 1 odds right now. So if you were going to throw down some cash, Acee Bhatia is probably the way to go, and he's just playing really good right now. He doesn't fit the traditional mold of who wins the Masters, because who wins the Masters, usually they finish top 10 the year before. Usually they've played Augusta a million times in their career and start to learn the course better, because it's not just get out there and hit it as far as you can. No, Augusta is literally about placing the ball in a hula hoop on every green, because it's the only safe spot on the green. Acee Bhatia is one of those guys who can do it. Patrick Reed always seems to be in contention at the Masters. And then Justin Rose. Justin Rose has finished second 3 times in the Masters, has never won a major in his career. It is kind of the Aaron Rodgers where he's still hanging on while guys like Tiger and Phil have maybe passed their prime and are moving their way out of golf. Justin Rose is in that age range, still playing competitive golf week in, week out. So Acee Bhatia, Patrick Reed, Justin Rose, no one would be surprised if they're in the conversation on Sunday. Maybe one of them can make a run.
I like it. Brent, do we have that Rory sound? Okay, this one is a little different. So Rory was basically talking about the Masters this year, obviously defending champ last year. This is what he said at the presser today.
And I think for the past, 17 years, I just could not wait for the tournament to start. And this year I wouldn't care if the tournament never started. So that's sort of the difference. It's completely different. I feel so much more relaxed. I know that I'm going to be coming back here for a lot of years. Going to enjoy the perks that the champions get here. And doesn't make me any less motivated to go out there and play well and try to win the tournament. But yeah, just more relaxed about it all.
Do we believe that? Because Rory hasn't really played exceptional golf outside the Masters last year, went on a slump, was great at the Ryder Cup. But besides that, he hasn't really had a great PGA Tour in the last year. And before the Masters last year was, known for choking on Sunday, finishing second and third. How do you view Rory going into this Masters? Do you think because he's relaxed that we might get a great Rory McIlroy, or is this he won it and he's really out of the equation this year?
Rory literally built his golf game the last 5 years around winning the Masters. And that was everything. It was as far as it comes down to like building your body to win at Augusta. And I think mentally too, he's talked a lot about the work he's done with sports psychologists leading up to the Masters, because for years it was like you would finish in the top 10, but you'd have a terrible Sunday and you would drop yourself out of contention. He finally got it done last year. I don't know exactly what that's going to mean for Rory, because every golfer kind of handles success differently. You saw Tiger when he was going on his run of dominance. It was like success just made him hungry for more success. So far in his career, I don't know if Rory has that, if I'm being honest, because of what we saw last year. It's like he won the Masters. We saw that moment with him on the green on the 18th hole where he literally just collapsed and the tears were flowing and it felt like such a weight had been lifted off his shoulders. And then he played bad golf for months after that. So I don't know what Rory's mindset is heading into this Masters. I would think the value for Rory McIlroy is get him on day one, because this is the most relaxed he's been and he has zero pressure coming into this Masters tournament. So I do think he's going to go really low on day one. I don't know if he's mentally or physically prepared for the 4-day toll that Augusta is.
Last year's Masters on Sunday was just, we were texting the whole time. It was phenomenal because you had Rory trying to get it, that storyline. You had DeChambeau, then you had Justin Rose coming. You had Scotty Scheffler making that late push a little bit too late. But that the ratings were through the roof because you had guys that people know, Rory, Scotty, all these casual fans who maybe just tune in for the majors know who they are. But there's been a narrative, I think, that golf has to have big names on Sunday to be great. And I don't know if that's necessarily true, because we've seen guys like JJ Spawn win recently and kind of some guys come out of not nowhere, but make stars. And it's better when golf has more stars in it. Are you in that mindset? Are you like watching a guy like Scotty not run through everyone, but see if he can chase down all-time greats? Or are you more like you just like seeing a competitive field and a bunch of different varying champions from tournament to tournament?
I think that's what's cool about this tournament is stars can be born at Augusta. Like you don't have to be a star coming in for years. And this was like a decade after Tiger was at his peak. They were trying to force Jordan Spieth and Justin Rose down our throats. And to be frank, neither of them are all that likable. So either you have to have that killer edge that a Kobe had or a Tiger had, or you just have to wow us with your game. And that's what Scotty Scheffler has done over the last couple of years, is wow us with his game. And he's been dominant. He doesn't have much of a personality, but Scotty Scheffler is now a superstar. Someone can be born at this year's Masters, and it doesn't have to be because of a crazy personality. It doesn't have to be because of huge fist bumps. It just has to be someone showing up, and it could be a Minwoo Lee who isn't super extroverted, but he comes out there and just blows us away with his game. I think that's what's cool about this tournament is the course is the star. It doesn't necessarily have to be the golfer.
You and I are both degenerate gamblers.
Yes.
Are you a place bets before the tournament, or are you waiting live betting on Saturday during the cut, waiting for big time stars? We've seen Scotty so far this year have bad Thursdays and Fridays and then go on a tear. Are you a live better, or are you I place it before the tournament and let it be?
John Rahm is my only winner I will be picking for the Masters this year beforehand. I picked him last week. I have added a couple of times to the bet because I'm pretty confident in it. John Rahm is the only guy I'm picking to win. That being said, every day of the Masters, you can kind of treat as your own gambling thing. And this is where things like Prize Picks are great. That's what I'll use for the Masters because you can go in there and pick just how many birdies is this guy going to have? Is he going to go more than or less than 70.5 strokes? So I think there should be one, like stick to your guns and pick your winner before the tournament begins. That way you can ride that all the way through. If he misses the cut, you're allowed to take another one. But every day, make yourself a little fantasy parlay.
And to your point, if you're going to want to bet Rory and you don't think he's going to win the whole thing, you go day one.
Go day one.
He's going to be better.
That's what
Ben,
I like.
you're the best. You can go get some sleep, because I know you've been up at the station since like 4 a.m.
Driving up to Carlsbad right now for some reason.
Really? What's up in Carlsbad? Can we say on air?
I'm just going to dinner with my wife and her family for some reason. Yeah.
I hope they're all in the car right now listening. They're
Don't
like,
worry.
I can't wait to see Fletch.
I just saw you all at Easter. Happy to see you again and spend a couple $100 on dinner.
Everything that's been said has been said. You know what I mean? That's how we view it.
See you, Sammy.
My guy, you're the best, brother. We'll see you tomorrow at 12. That is Ben Fletcher, the man. You all know him. We'll be back at 12 to 2 tomorrow for our show. All right, coming up next on Going Long, we're going to give the Padres a little bit. Padres facing Paul Skeens today. What emphasis can we put on this game? Is this a more important game than just a Tuesday in April? We're getting to that coming up next on Going Long, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Welcome back to Going Long. Trying to figure out the stream here. Give me 1 second. I'll mess with that. This is usually Fletch's territory. Okay. Oh, there we go. There I am. Okay. Some of you are happy you see me on the thing. Some of you are not. Guess what? If you're on the stream, you got to deal with it. Welcome back to Going Long 2 to 3 new show with me. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. Really means a lot. Every day we're talking about wide variety of sports, Padres, basketball, NFL, Masters. Heard Fletch on. Thank Ben for coming on, hanging on. That dude has to get up here at like 4 a.m., 3:30 in the morning every day for the morning show. There's a reason why I have not been asked to host a rock show in the morning, because I would be late way too much. But San Diego Padres, first in 10 minutes, talking to my guy, Aztec Analytics, one of the premier accounts on X. Go shoot him a follow, covering Aztec basketball. Some big Aztec news, multiple guys hitting the transfer portal. Excited to talk to him about potential additions for the Aztecs and what needs to happen, because they look like they might be losing some players. But first, let's look at the Padres. Padres facing Paul Skeens today. And anytime that happens, that's exciting. It's Paul Skeens, one of the best pitchers, if not the best pitcher in baseball. And it's been cool over the last few days. And we've seen the Padres. This is what we've been asking for. Saturday, Ramon Laureano and Fernando Tatis come through late in that game when it didn't look like the Padres were necessarily going to win that one. And then Sunday, you have a rough start from Walker Buehler, and they get to Ranger Suarez. You have Merrill, huge shot. Manny Machado, huge shot. The thing on Saturday and Sunday, Merrill, Machado, Tatis, and Laureano all came through. And that's what you want to see. It was hard. I remember doing the show on Friday, and when Luis Campusano and some of these guys and Gavin Sheets are the only guys showing up, it's frustrating, because when you step up in competition and face up Paul Skeens, you have to have the big time production. And yesterday was very impressive. German Marquez, and maybe AJ Preller was looking for a diamond in the rough. That's why he went out and got Walker Buehler, went out and got German Marquez. We haven't seen Griffin Canning yet because he's been injured, but he went out and got these kind of flyer starting pitchers on very manageable deals. And the whole premise behind that was you have to, hopefully one of them hits. It's like the NFL draft. You'll see teams that have 10 draft picks and they just kind of throw a bunch at the dartboard and hope one or two of them pop. That's basically what AJ Preller did with the pitching staff. Counting on Pivetta, King, and Randy Vasquez has certainly elevated himself, I think, into a top 3 discussion and a guy you can consistently count on in the rotation. But I give the Padres credit for yesterday getting after Bubba Chandler, who is one of those top prospects in baseball, a guy that one day could be a really big time pitcher. If you're a Pirates fan, you got to be excited about Skeens, obviously, and Chandler and some of those guys. But today, and I know it's April 7th, and Texas, by the way, text 70470, start your message with team. Is there extra incentive on this game? Text 70470, start your message with team. Because I know some people are going to go, it's a Tuesday in April. And it's just one game doesn't mean any more than another. And that's 100% real. But when you're able to face a guy like Paul Skeens, the narrative we heard after the first weekend when the Padres took on the Tigers at Petco was, well, they didn't hit off Skubal, but that's Tarek Skubal. Then the next night, they didn't hit off Framber Valdez. Yeah, but Framber Valdez is a very talented player, which is all true. Then Jack Flaherty on Saturday. Logan Webb, I give the Padres some credit. I believe they got 3 runs off him, so they got to him a little bit. They missed Garrett Crochet over the weekend, and we saw they took Ranger Suarez deep into the game. They got him out of there, and that's very impressive because Ranger Suarez was a fantastic pitcher for the Phillies before he signed that big contract with the Boston Red Sox. But the narrative can't be every time, and I know the playoffs, it feels like are forever away, and they are. There's a whole season ahead of us. But it can't be every time they step up and face solid starting pitching, oh, well, that's a good pitcher over there. Because the way this Padres team is constructed, leaning on a bullpen, the bats have to be great. That's why we made such a big deal about the bats not being great the first week of the season, because this team doesn't have, even though we like Nick Pivetta, Michael King has some solid stuff. It's nice what we've been seeing from Randy Vasquez. Hopefully Joe Musgrove, when he comes back, can get back to the Joe Musgrove that we all know and love from 2 to 3 years ago. But Joe Musgrove was never really a shutdown ace. He was just a gamer. He was a guy that you would feel comfortable out there throwing out in a game 5 in a winner take all series, because he could, if he got rocked early, he was a guy that could muscle through it and was never really going to get rattled. But the way AJ Preller put this team together, not having a guy, even Nick Pivetta is not a guy that you point to that's a Yoshinobu Yamamoto or a Paul Skeens or a Tarek Skubal or a guy that when he's pitching, you're expecting to win. And when you don't win when they're pitching, it's a massive shock because those guys are so much better than everyone. Not to say the Padres starting pitching staff is awful, but that's certainly not the strength of this team. So when we come to today facing Paul Skeens, it's an opportunity for the big time bats, for Fernando, for Manny, for Merrill, and Laureano to show off against Skeens. Because a pitcher like Paul Skeens, you're not batting guys around the base path. And this was a concern for the Padres last year heading into the postseason because the Padres' home run and power stats were awful. And when you're facing elite level pitching in the postseason, it's home run reliant. You got to be able to, when elite level pitchers make one mistake, you have to be able to take advantage of that. And the Padres last season really relied on batting around the base pass and putting pressure on, and then being at Petco Park, with the fans, with it being so loud, kind of added to their bats. But when you face a guy like Paul Skeens, if you want to quiet all the doubters, including myself, the first week of the season, that the bats weren't good enough, and Manny Machado wasn't playing excellent baseball, and Fernando Tatis wasn't playing MVP baseball like we saw 4 years ago. It's a microcosm of one game, and people could say I'm making too much of one game. But when you're able to face elite level pitching, you get elite level opportunities. And I think with them going after Skeens tonight, if they could at least get to him, not even put 5 runs up on him, but work pitch counts up, drive him out of the game before he wants to be out of the game, it would go a lot in going that they calm the ship on the road after a rough first week at Petco. So I am excited to watch this game today because I think it will tell us a lot about whether the Padres just took advantage of a struggling Red Sox team and a young pitcher, or if the bats are really back and there's something the Padres should be excited about. All right, coming up next, my guy, my Aztec Analytics Twitter account, go shoot him a follow. Does an excellent job covering Aztecs basketball. Some big time players hit the transfer portal. What is next for the future of this team? Also going to talk to him about the state of college basketball, whether it's in a good space. Coming up next on Going Long, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. The Padres and Pirates got game 2 of their series a little later this afternoon. It's going to be Nick Pivetta going for the Padres and Paul Skeens going for the Pirates. First pitch is set for 3:40. And projected future number 1 pick Fernando Mendoza informed the league today that he is not going to attend the NFL draft in person. Mendoza will be the latest top pick to not attend the draft in person. Trevon Walker, Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, and Myles Garrett all skipped the draft the years they were taken number 1. The draft will be held in Pittsburgh on April 23rd. And we've got Lakers basketball tonight on San Diego Sports 760 when they have their rematch with OKC. Pregame is set for 7:15 and the tip is at 7:30. For victims of drunk and drugged driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little heat. Getting warm around here.
Light the fires, Big Daddy.
Who's next in the hot seat?
We have Lakers basketball tonight on San Diego Sports 760 when they take on Oklahoma City. Oh my God, we have to watch that again. Lord have mercy. Pre-game coverage begins at 7:15 with the tip at 7:30. The entire Big Three will be missing, so I will be watching as a diehard Laker fan, but probably game will be over 20 seconds into it. But joining me right now, we're talking some Aztecs basketball. My guy got a great X account, Aztec Analytics. Go shoot him a follow, covering everything Aztecs basketball. JB, what's up, dude?
What's going on, Sammy? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course, dude. Of course. Now, I know you very well, but you have done an excellent job covering Aztecs basketball, over the time that you've had the account. How many years have you had the account?
I've had it for just over 3 years. I started it the season before we made our Final Four run. And to be honest, I just made it as a way to illustrate what was going on in my head out for the world to hopefully see. And it's turned into something that keeps me up a lot at night and devotes a lot of my time to, but I love it and wouldn't have it any other way.
So obviously big news today in, college basketball. College basketball, college football, I feel like it's now 24/7 sports. I mean, with the transfer portal, and I mean, there's 1,000 guys entering in the transfer portal after Michigan won the Natty last night. So per Mark Siegler, we know Miles Bird's in the transfer portal, BJ Davis, Magoon Guath, and Miles Heide have just confirmed they're in the portal. And as of a few minutes ago, Farrell Compton is expected to enter the transfer portal. What do you make of all these guys leaving? So there's been some panic on the text line. Some people kind of, realizing that it's there's going to be some acquisitions for the Aztecs. What do you make of the loss of those, or the potential loss of those 5?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is you just got to realize that it's modern college basketball. Unfortunately, it's going to be like this probably for a while. And it really does stink when it happens, but it does happen. And these 5 guys leaving, they equate to 48% of your minutes played and 52% of your points. So basically right away, half of your team is in the portal. And the thing about these 5 guys is they're all different facets of the game of basketball. Obviously, Miles Bird being your wing, your slasher, your best defender. Davis, your point guard. He was really your best playmaker. And when we needed points, he scored. Obviously, Magoon wasn't healthy a lot of the year coming off of that knee injury, but he was the shot blocker. He was the enforcer. He was the guy you could switch 1 through 5. Heide was the 5-man back to the basket, paint player. And so was Farrell Compton. So, you're not losing guys because, the person ahead of them was just better and is returning. You're losing 5 different parts of the game of basketball, which makes it even harder to fill.
Brian Dutcher was saying after the season that rebounding was a problem, and that has been a problem last season for this team. It felt like it was odd lineups because the team was so built on the wing and the forward spot, and then you had to put Heide and Compton, these guys, in for rebounding purposes, but that took away a little bit from you offensively. Because to me, it makes it seem like with Heide, Compton, and Guath all there, hopefully, if we're looking glass half full, they got their eyes on a big time front court piece, because you wouldn't be letting all 3 of your guys go to the transfer portal if you were scared that you weren't getting a big front court piece back. Could we take that from this, that these guys are all going to the transfer portal because they may know someone's coming in, or it really is they're just testing the waters?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think they're definitely testing the waters. I think the interesting thing to me was Magoon putting his name in the portal wasn't surprising, but both Miles Heide and Farrell Compton was interesting to me. I thought since they split, if the first guy went, the second guy would have, maybe stayed because those minutes would have potentially gone to him. But, them both going, and like you mentioned, you basically have 3 front court players in the portal. I would hope that there is a big name acquisition or a couple that could fill that because, filling 3 front court spots is pretty difficult.
What do you make? Aztecs headed to the new look Pac-12 next year. It'll be very exciting with Gonzaga. Some critics have said it's basically just Mountain West and adding Gonzaga, but I do think because the Mountain West, a little bit of a down year with just Utah State going to the tourney, but Utah State has some good programs going with the Aztecs, and then you add a powerhouse in Gonzaga, who you could potentially meet up to 3 times every single season. What do you make of them in the Pac-12? Do you think that in the new look Pac-12 there'll be more more bids going from the Pac-12 to the NCAA tournament, or do you think it's going to be more of the problem the Mountain West has is it's really 1, maybe 2, but it's hard to get multiple bids?
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so in terms of the bid thing. I mean, last year was an anomaly just in terms of what the Mountain West, what they were in terms of average net, only getting 0 at-large bids, auto bids had never happened in the history of the net rankings. But in terms of the new look Pac-12, I hear it phrased a lot, like you mentioned. Is it Gonzaga and the Mountain West, or is it the Pac-12? And I guess the way I would describe it is obviously Gonzaga helps, right? Gonzaga finished 10th in the net. But what you're really doing is you're adding a really good team in Gonzaga, but you're taking out the bottom in terms of, no offense to these programs, but San Jose and Air Force. And you're kind of averaging out your net a little bit better. Last year, the future Pac-12, so this coming year's Pac-12 was 6th in the net, which was ahead of the Mountain West by about 9 spots. So the bottom teams last year in that new Pac-12, they've got some work to do. But I think what you're doing is you're kind of, you're lowering the average of your net, which in turn should give you better quadrant 1, quadrant 2 opportunities for each team.
That's a good point, because you look at, all respect to our servicemen and women, but the Air Force Academy in basketball, you have a couple of San Jose States that are walking landmines. I mean, there's nothing for the Aztecs in those games. They're projected to beat them by 20. If it's even close, they're dropping in the net. If they, God forbid, lose one of those games, I mean, it's a Troy type loss on their schedule. So I'm totally with you in regards to that. Looking at, you're obviously tapped in to college basketball. What do you make of the state of college basketball? Because the reporting came out before last night, Michigan's NIL collective hanging around $10 million. In UConn was about 8 to 10. The team in the Sweet 16 that had the lowest NIL collective was Iowa with about 6.2. What do you make of that? Has that taken away from the Cinderella's experience for you? And has it taken away from March Madness, or are you just kind of accepting that this is how college basketball is now?
Yeah, I'm kind of accepting it just because it's where we are, and it's where we're going to be for a while. And I know that's not always popular with a lot of people, but you know what? It is what it is. And it's one of those things where you adapt or die. And, I'm all for NIL. I love it, but I think it's a little mismanaged in a sense, but we can talk about that for a long time, but yeah, I mean, it is where we are. And, you got to do the best you can with the cards you're dealt. And it's tricky for a mid-major or low major to have that type of money that a Duke or a Kansas or, a Michigan can have. But, that's when really getting into the portal and using numbers and analytics and really trying to narrow down perfect fits within your NIL budget is more crucial than ever in terms of building a team for the next year, especially when, in terms of San Diego State, you got 5 guys in the portal and you got 3 guys graduating. So that's over half your team that's gone, and you have to completely rebuild starting today.
So per Yahoo Sports, the turning field in the near future is looking to expand from 68 to 76. what are your reactions to that? Because I don't think that solves anything. I think the one critique that college basketball has is that, a lot of people just tune in for March Madness or the weeks before in the college basketball regular season, unless you are a bubble team, is a little bit irrelevant in November, December, and January. And now you're adding even more teams that are going to make it. It just, to me, feels like you're taking away the college basketball regular season, which is already a little bit of a problem as it's currently constructed. Are you for them expanding the tournament, or do you think this hurts it?
Well, I'm under the impression of, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. And I don't think it's broken. I think the way we have it at 68 is great. But again, if you put 76, that's eight teams, which is 4 extra games, and 4 extra games is more money for the networks, and more money for the networks is more revenue sharing for the conferences, and that trickles down. And that's kind of how it's happening. Not to go off subject, but with the college football playoff, it went from 4 teams to 12, and everyone threw a fit. Now it's been 2 years, and it's all right. 12 is not bad, and there's been an Acee that has won the national championship already. So I feel like the instant reaction would obviously be like, why are we doing this? And I'm not a fan, but again, I don't have any power. And I know that if we do end up going to 76, it's just going to be 4 more games that I sit on the couch and watch at the end of the day.
Aztec Analytics, go shoot him a follow on X, Twitter, Aztec Analytics. JB, what's up, dude? Thank you so much for jumping on, and I will be, I'll hit you up soon.
All right. Thanks, Sammy. Great job on your show. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, man. Aztec Analytics right there. This is my guy doing an excellent job breaking down everything San Diego State. His point's valid. I do think we get caught up a lot in complaining about the state of college basketball, college football. I think NIL has really helped college football, where I don't know that the same can be said for college basketball, because something that has made college basketball so beautiful is the Cinderella runs, is the storylines if your team's not in it. Whereas college football, I think it's expanded. The NIL has expanded and made more teams have a chance to win a national title, because when it was the BCS and then the college football playoff, when it was only 4 teams, it is hard pressed to make a case for outside of 6, 7, 8 teams could actually win the national title. And now I think you can make a case for about 20. So I like what it's done for college football. College basketball, I'm not sure, but to his point, it is about adapting. It's about it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So I mean, you can't really keep complaining about it. All right, coming up next, they're itching to get inside. They had a day off yesterday. They're fully charged up from the weekend. John Schaefer, Alan Slewa joining me next. Coming up next on Going Long, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Welcome back to Going Long, live on San Diego Sports 760 on the iHeart Radio app. Joining me, of course, for the crossover every day. We're officially naming it the crossover. I think that's what we settled on.
Well, it's official already? Did we get a vote?
It's unofficially official.
Well, until it's sold, until it's a sponsorship has been made, then we'll call it whatever.
Crossover's not bad.
It's
not bad.
No,
makes me
basketball
think
reference?
of Allen Iverson just crossing somebody up.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes me think a little bit of that.
But I feel like we should hold out for like the sponsor.
Yeah.
Like whatever the sponsor is, I would be willing to come up with a really bad name for the sponsor. Does that make sense? Like, even if it makes no sense.
Yeah. So we're TBD right now. That's what we'll be. Well, I rescind what I just said.
No, we could be crossover until we're put in a position to have a name
until further notice.
Didn't we used to have, Brent, like a sound for the? Oh, we called it the Fusion back in the day.
You guys said if you and Darren, right?
Was that the Fusion, Brent, or was that when Mark Willard into the Cannons, Mark and Rich?
That predated Darren.
Let's call Mark Willard,
call Mark,
Darren. I want to call all these people and find out what it was.
Darren's going to be on the show today, 3:30.
Hell yeah, I'll be listening.
Mark Ziegler, more on the Aztecs. We just caught up. I know you just had a guest on talking Aztecs basketball. Mark will be on the show today at 5 p.m. We could ask them all what they think.
Yeah, not even what, and also what it used to be called, because we're going to get to the bottom of it. As an investigative journalist, as I am,
yes,
I'm going to find out what it was at one point.
And we can have them rank their favorite radio host in San Diego over the years and least favorite. My favorite was when Steve Hartman, when they relaunched 1360, when he called, I believe it was Willard and Rich at the time, the lead-ins. Brian can back me up on this. And he called him it all show.
The lead-in.
And it kind of drove him crazy, but he just, Steve's not taking no for an answer.
It's pretty good.
The lead-ins.
I do like that.
It's creative right there.
Well, you boys were off yesterday, so you guys have a good weekend?
Yeah.
I think we needed it. We had worked 5 shows, which was a big number. Like we had done 5. So I feel like every 5 you get 3 off.
I sent an email to iHeart. I don't even know who I sent it to, but I just said that, hey, I'm kind of feeling the whole 4-day thing.
Oh yeah.
And maybe the whole Monday thing. Let's let that breathe, because less is more sometimes.
Who came up, seriously, like going back in the day,
the
whole 5 on 2 off theory, which basically the world, I'm not saying the entire world follows, it's a big world. There's a lot of like countries follow like, hey, you work Monday through Friday, you're off Saturday and Sunday, right? Not everyone, but to be fair, there's millions and millions of people.
I can ask ChatGPT who came up with it.
Seriously,
because I'm with you on that.
The 4-3 guy would have been amazing.
Light game changer.
What if it was? Here's my theory. What if you never worked more than 2 days in a row and it was Monday, Tuesday off, Thursday, Friday 2 off?
So wait, which of that scenario? If you were given, you got to work 10-hour days. So get your 40 hours in over 4 days.
Way better.
I do that in a heartbeat. I do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Do you want the Wednesday off, or do you want the 3-day weekend? Do you want the Monday, the Friday? Which one do you want?
3-day. I see, John. I see where you're at with the break it up.
Never
it's nice
work more
midweek.
than 2 days in a row.
but the problem, though, the great thing about the weekend is you could plan a little trip.
Yeah, the trip.
Get out of town. Everything is broken up.
Here's why they didn't do it. They being the people that came up with this, whatever it was.
We're still figuring out. I'll send another email to iHeart to see if they know who that was.
Brent's telling me Henry Ford came up with the 5 and 2. He should have done 4 and 3.
Really, Henry Ford?
So is this like an industrial revolution?
Yeah, that
thing?
makes sense. No, that's exactly why it was done. It was, I got to make these people work as much as possible, because I got to make as much money as possible.
If they did 4 and 3, the issue is everyone would then try to take an extra day. So like you'd extend it out. Like if you were Thursday, you take Thursday.
I'm doing Wednesday. Give me just give me Saturday and Sunday. I'll come back to work Monday, Tuesday. Give me Wednesday off. I'll go Thursday and Friday. Because now I kind of hold that Friday. It's a little hostage here, because the Friday is still going to be like a regular Friday.
Fridays are fun.
Right,
not everybody's going to come.
Friday.
Well, Tuesday becomes
Tuesday because you got your next days
Tuesday's
off.
like a Sunday.
If you had that, if you had 3 days off,
Saturday.
I feel like people would take less vacation, because if you had 3 days off, you could travel to a city and have a nice relaxed time.
Yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't give him. Here's my new. If I ever run a company, like if I buy iHeart and make it Schaefer Audio or whatever,
yep,
I'm giving everyone 4 on 3 off, no vacation. You want to work here?
Yes.
You're getting 20% of the days off.
Yeah.
Which I think is
exactly.
You get 1 vacation day.
Yeah.
And you get 2 personal days. And if you're sick, we're getting rid of
I got to be honest, John. I might sue you just because I don't know.
illegal. It's probably
I don't know if it's legal or not, but I feel like there might be something in there for me. So I want you to run your company. I want your company to be very successful, but I might just do it, see if I can get a payout.
All you got to say is, I'm John Schaefer and I approve this message.
Wait, what do you guys think of, like, my wife has unlimited PTO, unlimited paid time off, but I think that's such a con. Because it's like saying like free refills or something, but like, are you ever going to go back for 7? As in, I think there's a point where you don't want to go to your boss and be like, hey, I need days 40, 41, and 42
yeah,
off
it's a tough
this
one.
year.
Yeah, it's a bad, not exactly the best vibe.
Yeah, what does unlimited mean? Like, does that mean, hey, take your
I'd
3
like
4
to
weeks,
try
but
it.
don't take 5? Yeah, I mean, I just find it to be a little.
Texas 70470. Start your message with team. Schaefer and Slee, we're going to be covering this for the next 3 hours.
Would you rather have unlimited PTO or every Friday off?
Every Friday.
Every Friday off.
I'm good. Seriously.
Because
way better.
Here's the problem. Unlimited PTO, you're going to, bosses over the years are going to go, really?
But then you're stuck. You can't go anywhere internationally.
Right, under my no holiday theory.
But you get a certain number of sick days. Because you can't.
If you had Fridays off, you have 52 extra days.
That's a lot of days.
Do you feel like people,
That's
though,
a lot.
would be more productive working 4 10-hour days or what we have now? Because I feel like.
Give me 10 hours. I'll take 10 hours.
I feel like if it was a shorter amount of time and I'm already at work. So I'm already here. Like I'll work.
Yeah.
But when you're thinking like it's Tuesday, you're like, man, we got it.
1,000%.
It's 3 days until the weekend.
The whole thing is interesting. It's a little.
Can I hold, if I take the Friday, you give me 52 Fridays, can I work like 12 Fridays in a row and then have 12 days after that?
That's a great question.
Absolutely not.
That's how I'd like to negotiate a little bit. I'd like to negotiate a little bit.
You know what would be great about this? If we had Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, we'd only miss 1 day of the Masters this weekend.
Right. That's a good point.
Are you guys?
I'm okay to work through the entire Masters, no problem.
You're not betting the Masters at Augusta.
I would be happy to go Thursday to Sunday. I'll work the entire thing
because we're still learning about it. So are you a golf guy?
Not a golf guy. No.
Okay.
Definitely not a golf guy.
Schaefer, are you
similar? No, I have no problem throwing on the Masters or a major championship, or even a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'm not enamored by it.
Like if you told me watch a rerun of a 90s playoff game in the NBA or the Masters this weekend, we'll take a look at that 90s playoff game. I'll take a look at that.
Okay.
Yeah. See how the Hawks did.
Yeah.
Hawks.
That Kings Lakers series.
I'm just curious. I don't remember the game, so technically it's like a live game.
Like a new game.
Alan, you do post game shows for the Lakers every night. I know we have to get out of here. Are you watching the game tonight?
I will be watching the game tonight.
Of course he is.
I'm watching the game tonight.
No LeBron.
There will be some alcohol involved because
no Luka.
Dude, how many titles?
No Austin. No Smart.
Yeah.
How many titles do the Lakers have?
17
titles.
17. So this is a matchup of 2 teams that have combined to win 18 titles. How are you not watching?
Lakers.
It's also the class of the NBA in the Thunder.
The spread in Vegas is 18.5.
Is it really?
Yeah. That was before LeBron was out. Or no, it was 17.5. Maybe
it was
before.
16.5 and opened, and then it's been bet or it's been open at 12.
That's terrible.
All right, I got to get out of here because you guys are taking over for the next 3 hours. Darren Smith coming up at 3:30. Ziegler at 4:30.
5 p.m.
5 p.m. 5 p.m. Damn it, Sammy. 5 p.m.
5 p.m. It's been a long day, guys. Okay, it's the long work week. All right, coming up next, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Fletch and I at 12 o'clock. This show 2 to 3. Make sure to tune in every day. See you tomorrow. Stay tuned for Schaefer and Sleewood.